Not to be confused with we are.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing well, David. A lot better than Todd Bowles.
Yes.
For everybody that wanted a little emotion out of Todd Bowles, go find the post-game press conference. I cannot play it on the air because we would be taken off the air, and I don't feel like bleeping that many words out. He let it rip after the game last night. And it's in the same tone. He doesn't yell and scream, but I've never heard him swear. And he let about a dozen go in 30 seconds.
Well, because I think he just watched his season fall apart in front of him in the 30 minutes before that presser. And he may have watched his head coaching career go by the wayside as well. We talked about it.
Where you're coming from. You're right, and I think all of the things that you say could be true. The difference is that unlike many teams at this point in the season, when they blow a big game, they've got Carolina twice. I know it's hard to sweep, and no one can imagine Tampa Bay winning 3 games in a row right now the way they've been playing, including me. But they're not done yet. Let me go, Roy Cummings, glass half full. But that was Oh, my goodness. 14-point fourth quarter lead, and they blow it. The offense blows it with the pick, and then the defense allows 3rd and 28 and 4th and 14. Wow.
Mark, when you're given a win by the NFL schedule makers, you have to take advantage of it. Tampa Bay was 6-5 and beginning a 3-game homestand against the vaunted trio of Arizona, New Orleans, and Atlanta. And they went 1-2. They're done. Because unless the Saints sweep Carolina by winning this Sunday at home against the Panthers, Carolina only needs a split with Tampa Bay to win the South. Just a split. In fact, this division could be over in 9 days. Carolina wins Sunday, they're 8-6. They'll host Tampa the next week. They win, it's over. It's over. The best the Bucs can get to is 9, and Carolina will have won the tiebreaker because they'll have the superior division record. Tampa Bay was 6-2, 5-1 and 6-2. And all they had to do was hold off the Carolina Panthers. They've lost 5 of 6.
Oh, yeah.
6 of 8. Their defense has completely fallen apart. Who's responsible for the defense?
Todd Bowles.
It'll be tough to survive this.
Absolutely. David, the only way to survive it is to win 3 straight games. That's it. That's how you survive it. You beat Carolina twice and you beat Miami, and you put a 10-7 up there, and you've won the division. I mean, that's the only way to survive it. There is no other way.
I mean, you can afford to lose to Miami, but barring the Saints sweeping Carolina this Sunday, you're going to have to sweep Carolina. And Jason Light obviously likes Todd Bowles. He gave him the job after, no risk it, no biscuit, retired. And Todd's done a good job. But this will be a collapse. This will be a tremendous disappointment. This group was supposed to take it to the next level. What GM blames himself for whatever personnel misfires at the end of a very disappointing season? This isn't like in baseball where the manager can get rid of a third base coach and a pitching coach, and we can scapegoat it. I mean, Jason Light's not going to fire an assistant GM here over this. I mean, if you're firing the defensive coordinator, you're firing the head coach. Baker Mayfield may have his 4th offensive coordinator in as many years in Tampa. Because if Todd Bowles goes, the staff goes. Oh, boy. Mark, who'd have thunk it a month ago? Todd Bowles is the Florida NFL head coach that gets fired. Because a month ago, the Jags blew the 19-point fourth quarter lead to Houston, and the Dolphins were 2-7. And the Bucs were right around 6-2. Maybe they had lost a game on the 3-game skid, and they were 6-3. Imagine if a month ago we said, listen, 2 of the 3 Florida NFL head coaches are going to be the same, but the one that goes is the guy in Tampa.
And Jason Light has a lot of responsibility here. This defense, personnel-wise, is not good enough. his draft picks to get guys to rush the passer have not done the job. The defensive backs have been lousy, and they're supposed to be better than that.
Yes.
If it wasn't for a 14-year-old vet on D, I don't know if that defense would have anybody you'd recognize. So Tampa Bay, for the first time all year, is no longer in first place in their division. Carolina, now the first place team in the NFC South, restaking its claim as the worst division in football.
Without question. Without question. I mean, AFC North, NFC South, close NFC South.
Oh, yeah, NFC South.
Wow.
And this is a big weekend in the National Football League. Some key games. Ravens already lost to the Bengals once. They're on the road to take them on again. Can they win on the road and put pressure on Pittsburgh? The Bills and Patriots for the second time. New England can shore up the division if they sweep the Bills. Can they do it? Kansas City on life support. They host the Chargers. And then in the afternoon on Sunday, Packers and Broncos. Are the Broncos going to be a 1 seed in the AFC? For that matter, are the Packers going to be a 1 seed in the NFC? They still have a shot at that.
Is it a Super Bowl preview?
Could be. And the Lions trying to get back into the race? Well, it's the Stafford versus Goff game at SoFi. Rams are the better team. Let's see what happens. So a good, solid NFL weekend. And it started out with a good game last night.
Yeah.
Just so happens that the team that a lot of us down here pull for, the Tampa Bay Bucks, blew it in the fourth quarter. Very exciting, solid game if you're an Atlanta Falcon fan. And even if you are, well, it cost yourself about 5 spots in the draft. And by the way, you won despite setting a record for the most penalties in a game in franchise history. Think about that, Tampa. But
3rd and 28.
3rd and 28.
14.
But your nemesis, he did it against you last year.
Yeah.
And he returned to the spotlight. And the old man Cousins dished it around for 373 yards last night.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's favorite fantasy tight end, who is disappointed throughout his career, caught 11 balls for 166 yards. David, do you know he's going to be a free agent next year?
And he's probably fool's gold. But, boy, every now and then there's that game in which you go, you know, there's a reason he got taken in the top 10 of the draft. There it is right there. This guy's a beast.
A beast when he plays.
Kirk Cousins, last 3 games against the Tampa Bay Bucks, besides the fact he's 3-0, 1,158 yards passing. Basically, last night's game was a few yards below average, and he just completed another pass again. And I believe 11 touchdowns.
Yes. 11 touchdowns and 1 pick.
Yep. 3-0, 11 TDs, 1 interception.
And 1,158 yards. He'd be in the Hall of Fame if he could play the Bucks every week. But other things went on in the sports world yesterday.
If you say so. If you say so.
Wait a minute. If I say so, you've talked about this more than any sports show host in the country. And we have a resolution. The NASCAR lawsuit has been settled. We'll talk with Brad Gillie to see what he knows about the results. I don't know. There's a lot of information out there yet. There's a little bit, but we'll get to that. Pat Kirwan We'll talk all things NFL coming up in our 8 o'clock hour. And David's favorite game of the year, Army-Navy. And we have a guest, Steve Carney, will join us. He hosts the Yards and Stripes football podcast. He also does some work with the Tampa Bay Lightning, who are red hot.
Despite a rash of injuries to many of their top players.
But that hasn't slowed them down at all. Another win for them last night as they pounded Seth's Devils. The starting five, 25 minutes ahead, right here, a Football Friday on Miller and Moulton. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Canada Relief, I do not like. I like the pirate on the sleeve, if you will, but the TBL, whatever, does nothing for me. What about you?
All I know is the Rangers can't get any points in the Stadium Series jerseys.
No, the stadium. That's the outdoor games, the Stadium Series, not the Centennial jerseys. Not to be confused with the Centennial jerseys.
Oh, Rangers are going to play one of those too. Yes, brown chicken, you did. Well, I don't think the Stadium Series will beat Rangers Hawks from 2 days ago. Yep. Where was Jimmy Giles when you needed him? Well, EB, you were wrong for 5 years. I mean, I wouldn't pat yourself on the back now that it's coming to fruition. I mean, you were wrong. He was a defensive coordinator when you won the Super Bowl. He has won 4 consecutive division titles. I mean, you were wrong until now. But you were wrong for a long time. Yeah, we did too, Canada Relief. We thought they looked exceptional. EB, this is the best stretch in franchise history. And you've done nothing but dog it. So, and the fact that you won't acknowledge reality. I mean, it's kind of difficult to have a conversation with you going forward if you can't acknowledge, well, I was wrong for 4 or 5 years. I'm only right now.
But damn it, I'm right now, and I'm going to tell you that I'm right now, over and over and over again.
You know, and here you are, dogging Dungy, who had produced the second best period in franchise history until now. But yes, it was time to move on from Dungy. They made the right move. It'll be time to move on from Bowles. I mean, that's like dogging a 25-year marriage when the first 22, 23 were really good. 3 kids, you know, well-adjusted family, blah, blah, blah. I told you it wasn't going to work out. Oh, okay. Well, that wasn't his last playoff game. His last playoff game was the home loss to the Cowboys.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. The starting 5. Presented by Lee County, Florida. Building a better community through business, sports, and tourism is coming up in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Mark, there are only thousands of memes out there. So I don't know if I can accurately describe this one, but it's the guy coming from backstage out onto the concert arena, and he is feeling it. Okay, he's got the head and the shoulders going. He's got the upper body in working with the head and the shoulders, and he comes from around the stage, and now the crowd can see him, and it is absolutely packed. And he's walking out on stage, and the stage has that long runway, okay, where he can walk seemingly 100 feet out into the crowd, and he is just bringing it, and they are bringing it back. Don't you think that's Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin walking through the NASCAR garage at Daytona in 2 months? I mean, Jordan won't act that way. Denny Hamlin will. Denny Hamlin will be walking through that garage going, hey, all you blankety blanks, okay, and you didn't support us worth a blank, 2 years, all the money, all the risk, the whole deal. Yeah. And then the music starts. Boom. That's kind of what I'm feeling yesterday after the NASCAR trial, all right, ended without a verdict because, well, NASCAR caved because they were losing. And it was just going to be a matter of how badly they were going to lose. And they said, hey, guys, yeah, I know we dogged you for the last year and a half. We made your life miserable. And but so what do you say if we give you just about everything you wanted?
You know, it was a great visual. I mean, I closed my eyes and watched it. I didn't know where you were going until you got to Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan, because I had no idea what you were talking about for 60 seconds, and you had me absolutely riveted. So thank you for your storytelling. I did not know we had story time with Uncle David this early in the show, and it was terrific.
Thank you.
You know what it actually is to me, except for he'll never get the high fives and the accolades from his peers. It's Phil Mickelson, if you know what I mean. This is live without live, because there was no other tour to I mean, if Jordan and Hamlin and Front Row and they lose, they're toast.
Out. They're done.
They're
Michael Jordan
done.
said, if we lose this, I'm folding up the team, and I can't make money, and this is a waste of time.
And everybody else would continue to not make money at the level they would, and the France family would continue to prosper in an unbelievable way. But to me, the correlation that I have with it more than anything is really Mickelson and Liv, because as much as everybody and I guess there's some differences, because I don't know if the NASCAR world didn't go trash Front Row and Jordan. They didn't support him, but they didn't trash him. Whereas Phil and Liv got and still are getting trashed by the PGA Tour and the golf fan. I mean, the golf fan doesn't watch Liv. They don't like Liv. They don't like those guys. They're traitors and all of those things. But every change on the PGA Tour that's happened has happened because of Liv.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of what I was thinking about when I saw that they settled yesterday. Was like, boy, the PGA Tour players should be high-fiving Phil the same way all the car owners are going to want to high-five Hamlin and Jordan and Front Row and all of in the two teams that took on NASCAR. And yeah, they didn't win, they settled, but read between the lines. And we still don't have all of the settlement news yet.
Yeah,
but the Evergreen Charters is enough.
And it's not, it's a big thing, but revenue distribution is the second part of it, and none of that's been made public. But that's how NASCAR likes to operate. And since Jordan and Hamlin and Front Row Motorsports want to continue to be a part of NASCAR, but Jordan, all you have to do is just listen to what he said, A, publicly, and B, the 1 hour he was on the stand. And you get the idea of where NASCAR is now going. Jordan said, I got into NASCAR thinking we would do the same thing that we did in the NBA. 50-50 share of the revenue. I mean, we'd be partners, the players and the NASCAR. And I got in and I realized, this is a benevolent dictatorship. There's no partnership here. And
by the way, that phrase was used in court. And you had to be so happy.
Yes.
Because it's one of your favorite phrases. I've been working with you for nearly 20 years. You love the phrase benevolent dictatorship. You love it.
That was my childhood. Okay. My mother, adore my mother. You all know that. I'm a mama's boy and I'm proud of it. Okay. I'm doing the show from her house.
Right. We see the curtains.
Right. Okay. But, it was a benevolent dictatorship growing up. I had to do what she said. There was no negotiation. Okay. And quite frankly, she was by herself working 3 jobs. There wasn't time to hash it out. And that's what she told me in later years. I didn't have the time to have to negotiate with you. You had to do what I said. Because I barely had enough time to do what I needed to do.
But when there's billions of dollars at stake and the teams are treated that way,
right?
It took It took massive guts. I mean, big onions to do what Jordan, Front Row, and Hamlin and what they did, because I really believe when they started this, David, that they thought they would have more support in the garage, if you know what I mean.
Well, because they had it off the record, behind the scenes. But then once they were the only two out there, the other 11 or 13 teams, they were like, oh, guys are on your own, man. We can't be associated with you because, NASCAR will come after us. Oh, thanks, guys. And Michael Jordan was just like, yeah, I can take on NASCAR. This ain't no biggie. Win, lose. I mean, it ain't worth staying if I don't win. And if I lose, I'll just fold. Whatever. I mean, when Jordan got on stand and said, because they said, are you profitable? And he said, slightly. And NASCAR was like, well, and Michael Jordan said, well, the only reason we're profitable is because of me. I get sponsorship money because of my relationships with many a corporate entity that the other teams, a lot of them, especially teams of our size, they don't get. Okay? They just don't. And we're barely breaking even. All right? And we got guys winning races and the whole, I mean,
All right.
And you want to talk about the majority of the other teams when we're barely paying the bills?
Let me ask you a serious question, though, because everything you said so far is 100% true. You can't argue with it. What does this mean for NASCAR? What does it mean for the fan? Does anything change? Because everybody I know that was a NASCAR fan in the last 3-4 years, this car of tomorrow has turned people off greatly from the sport. So how do you translate or transfer or whatever you want to say the win by Jordan yesterday into better fan support for NASCAR? Or does one have nothing to do with the other?
It's very simple in a sentence or two, but it's going to be very difficult. Everybody hates this car. They don't necessarily like the racing that we're getting. Mark, they have to come up with a new car, produce a type of racing that the fan.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
This December, watch the nation's best high school basketball players compete in the City of Palms Classic. Fort Myers will once again welcome future college and NBA stars as they square off at Suncoast Arena from December 18th through the 23rd. Come see Southwest Florida's own Bishop Verreau versus Barron Collier on Sunday night, December 21st. For tournament information, please visit cityofpalmsclassic.com. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
That is so awful. It's spectacular. Mark, what you sent me,
Yes.
so awful. So awful. It's spectacular.
Yes. Left Twix, I don't feel very good. I don't. But, I mean, go out and, find me somebody that's correct and how much smarter they are than me. I get it, Left Twix. Trying to predict who's going to be in title games in August is a pretty imperfect science.
My Bills-Ravens title games on life support. My Ravens-Lions Super Bowl. During both teams missed the playoffs today. Not looking good.
And I don't think Penn State's going to play Georgia for the Natty.
No, not. I was a little off on Penn State.
That was mine. I had Penn State, Georgia, and I had Georgia winning. Who did you have in it?
I'm trying to think. I thought I had Clemson losing the semis. So who did I have Penn State playing for the Natty?
I didn't write yours down, so I don't know.
Trying to think if Penn State Clemson or Penn State. I had Penn State losing to Ohio State in the regular season, beating them in the Big Ten title game. I might have had them beating Alabama.
I know you probably don't follow him, but I think it's Brandon Walker. He's one of the Barstool guys. I think he's a pretty good college football guy. He's pretty funny. And he's a Mississippi State grad. So he's on PFT, I think. I just saw the clip. And they go, we got you a present. And they give him a frame. I guess David doesn't care.
Coffin Ball, we just did the segment on NASCAR. And we'll have Brad Gillie on in 2 hours.
Well, thanks, Spitz. I was talking to David, but he wasn't listening. But anyhow, they gave him a frame, and he turns it over, and it was all of his preseason college football picks, and they were awful.
Who was this?
Oh, you missed the first. You had the headsets on. Brandon Walker, who works for Barstool. I think he's pretty good. He's pretty funny. He's a Mississippi State grad, and so he's on, I think, on PFT, and they hand him a frame, a present. Here, we got a present for you, and it's his preseason picks, and they go through them and just annihilate him. And this ain't easy. And if you just pick chalk, you get made fun of.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Steve Carney, 1 hour from now to talk Army-Navy.
And Tampa Bay Lightning. Because I'm going to ask him a lot of Lightning questions. I'll let David handle the Army-Navy.
All right, so the first part of the interview, we'll be talking with Steve Carney of Yards and Stripes. The second part of the interview, Mark will be talking with Steve Carney of the Tampa Bay Lightning Radio Network.
I mean, I know you love Army Navy, but it's the longest segment of the hour. How many questions can we ask about a triple option?
I hear you.
The pageantry is wonderful. I get it. You've sold me on all of the pomp and circumstance of the game. The football game secondary, isn't it?
Well, not the outcome.
Okay. The first 3.5 quarters are secondary.
Yeah, but the outcome's a big deal. I mean, both sides do spend 365 days going beat Army or beat Navy.
All right, David, I want you to be quiet for just 30 seconds, okay?
Right.
I don't want an answer out of you. I want nothing out of you right now.
Gotcha.
Twitch chat room, YouTube chat room, Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. I want any of you that know to tell me who won last year, and if you have an idea of how many. If I had prizes to give out, I would. If we were a show that gave out stuff. So the outcome, we just heard, the outcome is really important. Who won last year, everybody? Not a guess. Who won?
Well, it's really important to each other.
That's my point. It's not that important to everyone else. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
The starting five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the starting five.
Brought to you by Lee County, Florida. Building a better community through business, sports, and tourism. Let me know when I get to answer that question, by the way, that you just asked, that I had to remain quiet during.
Go.
Well, the first 6 answers in the chat room were all wrong. Navy won decisively.
Every single person who guessed Army. Everyone. Twitch chat room, YouTube chat room, the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. Everybody said Army.
Yes, they did.
Everybody.
Why? NFL, Thursday Night Football. So do you like the throwback jerseys? Did you like the creamsicle stadium and end zones and, once a year? Do you like it? Or are you like, wow, now I know why they changed those uniforms. Holy mackerel. I have to admit, once a year, I love it. Any more than that, no. Once a year, love them. All right? I want Doug Williams. I want Jimmy Giles. All
David,
right?
I don't know if you can ever wear them again. I'm not kidding.
I want Leroy Selman.
Last night,
brother.
Division in those damn orange creamsicle crap.
I think Todd Bowles, whoever the next coach is, I think they should wear the John McKay hat. Okay? When that game is played in those uniforms, okay, go all out. When Gruden's back coaching the Bucs next year, wear that floppy hat. Think the Bucs have the guts to do that, by the way?
No.
Bring John Gruden back?
No way.
Okay.
No way.
Bucs lost for the 5th time in 6 games. Back-to-back home losses to the Saints and last night, the Falcons. Kirk Cousins, hell, he's Tom Brady against the Bucs the last 2 years. 3-0, over 1,100 yards passing, 11 touchdowns to 1 interception. Bucs blew a 14-point fourth quarter lead. Baker threw a pick when they led by 8 with 8.5 minutes to go. Falcons scored, cut it to 2, missed the 2-point conversion. Bucs couldn't run out the clock. Atlanta had a 3rd and 28 and a 4th and 14 on the game-winning field goal drive and converted them. Zane Gonzalez, a 43-yarder at the gun. Atlanta, 29-28. Bucs are going to have to sweep Carolina beginning in 9 days, or else it's over. If Carolina wins Sunday at New Orleans, and remember, New Orleans won the first matchup. So what are the odds that the Saints sweep Carolina? If Carolina wins Sunday, the Bucs will literally face a must-win a week from Sunday, or else Carolina will have won the division with 2 weeks left to go. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Other NFL news, Steelers, TJ Watt. It's an interesting, concerning story, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So apparently he's at practice on Wednesday. He's feeling discomfort in his chest. He goes to the hospital. He's kept overnight. Is he still in the hospital? As of dinner time last night, I believe he was. I haven't seen anything that says he was released from the hospital. Quote, discomfort in his lungs. Huh. That doesn't sound good for anybody. Never mind a guy trying to play in the NFL coming up. His status for Monday Night Football, I love this. From Mike Tomlin's mouth, quote, up in the air, unquote. You think?
Lung discomfort, he's in the hospital. That's questionable in the National Football League.
Right. And the NHL playoffs. College football news. The SEC released its conference schedule and really all the team schedules because they threw in the non-conference games yesterday. Lane Kiffin's return to Oxford week 3, September 19th. That's going to be a scene and a half. I think we know where game day is going to be. For the Gators and their new coach, well, their SEC schedule will begin week 3 as well when they're at Alex Golesh in Auburn. For what it's worth, Gator fans, your SEC opponents are Ole Miss, South Carolina, Oklahoma, and Vandy at home. Auburn, Missouri, Tennessee, and Kentucky on the road. And remember, stadium repairs. The game against the Dogs, the cocktail party, is in Atlanta next year.
By the way, David, because, you know, if you can pick an SEC team to root for, your college football days, unless you get another job right now, are on hiatus because Gary's last game is the Sun Bowl. Are you a closet Auburn fan because of Golesh now, or an outward Auburn fan because of Golesh? You and I both love Alex Golesh.
Yeah.
I want to see him succeed at Auburn. Is that your new, you know, I don't want to say favorite, but is that your new kind of, I'm watching Auburn now?
Yeah, I'll definitely have a little soft spot for the Tigers. No question about it. I want to see him do well. So therefore, I want to see them do well. Sure. No doubt. For what it's worth, by the way, Alabama will start their SEC schedule week 2 at Kentucky. Bama's home games are South Carolina, Georgia, A&M, and Auburn. Bama's road schedule, Kentucky, Mississippi State, then Tennessee, LSU, and Vandy. Speaking of Alex Golesh and Auburn, we mentioned they open at home SEC play with Florida. Their other home games are Vandy, LSU, Arkansas. Road games, Tennessee, Georgia, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and Alabama. That seems to be a challenging year 1 schedule. Just saying. NASCAR, we mentioned it earlier. The 8-day trial. Day 9 was about to start, and all of a sudden both sides said to the judge, hey, can we have an hour to talk? Yeah. 1 hour turned into 2 hours. They returned to the courtroom and they said, hey, Judge, I think we worked out a deal. The judge said, well, I've been asking you this for months. I spent the whole weekend before the case trying to get you guys to make a deal. Hope so. And we had a deal. Why? Because NASCAR caved. They gave Michael Jordan, Denny Hamlin, and Front Row Motorsports, well, racing charters are now permanent. That means A racing charter is the equivalent of a franchise. If you got one, you got one. A new revenue sharing model was agreed upon. It was not made public. Here's a hint. Do you think Jordan would have accepted the offer if it wasn't in the best interest of he and all the NASCAR teams? He was winning. He knew it. NASCAR was coming to the table, hat in hand. This settlement came after 2 days of testimony from NASCAR chairman Jim France, which did not go well, and a public letter from the founder of Bass Pro Shops, in which he basically trashed the current leadership of NASCAR. They called for Commissioner Steve Phelps to be fired. Yeah. And I think he threatened to pull his money from the sport. And that's a lot of money. Baseball. Former Padres closer Robert Suarez signs a 3-year deal for $15 a year with the Braves. He'll be 35 this year, but he's really good. He converted 40 of 45 chances. So there. NBA, 4 games. Kyle Kuzma with 31. Milwaukee over Boston, 116-101. Pelicans won their 4th of the year. Hey, they're 4-22. They beat Portland by 23. Houston got an Amen Thompson three-point play with 17 seconds to go to edge the Clippers 115-113. And 11th straight road win for the Nuggets. Oklahoma City thinks that's impressive. 136-105 in Sacramento. College hoops, good one. The Cyhawk game. 4th-ranked Iowa State at home, down 8 at the half. Stayed unbeaten, edged Iowa 66-62. Jacksonville men a winner by 63 at home last night. No, I'm sorry, 73. NHL, 13 games. Lightning scored 4 in the first. Beat New Jersey 8-4. Kucherov with 4 assists. Gavin Brindley, pride of Southwest Florida, a goal and a helper, the first star of the game in the Avs 6-2 win over the Panthers.
That was a little slap around of the defending champs there. They bullied Florida last night.
Vegas, Mark Stone with the game winner in overtime, 3-2 over Philly. Carolina by the same score over Washington in a shootout. Those are the top 2 teams in the East. San Jose by that same 3-2 score came back from a 2-0 deficit to beat the Leafs in Toronto in overtime. Anders Lee, 2 goals, 2 assists. It's a good night, young man. Islanders 5-2 over Anaheim. Imagine being Jacob Fowler, and you don't even have to know who the heck he is. He's a young goalie making his NHL debut with the Montreal Canadiens. And his debut is against Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin and the Penguins. And he shuts them both down, makes 33 saves in a 4-2 win. Jacob Fowler feels pretty good about life in the pursuit of happiness right now. Good for him. Boston, Pasternak, 2 goals, 2 assists. 6-3 over Winnipeg. Wild with 3 in the third, beat Dallas 5-2. Steven Stamkos with 4 goals for Stammer. Only the second time he's ever done that in his career. He now has 594 in his Hall of Fame career. Nashville 7-2 over St. Louis. Ottawa with a 4-goal first, doubled up Columbus 6-3. Zach Hyman a hat trick for Edmonton in their 4-1 win over the Wings. And the Vancouver Canucks have quietly become the worst team in the league. They lost at home again to Buffalo last night, 3-2. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was the starting 5. 5 big stories. And how about Gavin Brindley? Here on Miller and Moulton, starting 5 brought to you by Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism. Have a BLT while embracing BST in Lee County.
And listening to BTO. It's important. Yeah, Gavin Brindley, Southwest Florida kid, gets traded to the Avs. Been playing well for him. That's a nice place to get traded to.
Gets traded from Columbus to Colorado. Yeah, he's feeling pretty good.
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell them Miller and Moulton sent you.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com, capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
There's something magical about the holidays, and at the Diamond District, it's the season we look forward to all year long.
The lights, the laughter, the feeling of giving. That moment someone opens a gift that truly sparkles.
When you walk through our doors, our team is ready to welcome you with warmth and expert guidance. No pressure, just people who love helping you create unforgettable moments.
Stunning diamond jewelry to wrap up the wonder of the season.
The Diamond District, se habla español.
At the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
He's on a rookie deal. I wouldn't worry about extending Gavin Brindley. He's not making or breaking you for the Stanley Cup. Love Gavin. Known his father for, God, over 20 years or thereabouts. Not that long. I don't know when he got here. Can't remember when we traded. Yeah, for over 20 years. He signed a 2-year deal, so he's there for this. He signed through the 28 season. They just signed him to a contract in November. So actually, he's off of his rookie deal, and he's on his second deal. Well, he played at Michigan. He was drafted by Columbus and then was traded. I don't know about come out of nowhere, but he's I think he was a second-round pick for Columbus, if I'm not mistaken. Most hockey players come out of nowhere. It's a sport without a lot of sure bets. And usually it takes some time in that sport in particular, even if you come out of college, because most of the kids go from junior ranks and they're drafted at 18 and play junior hockey for 2 more years before they even turn pro. So hockey's a lot like baseball when it comes to what you get out of a draft pick.
Excuse me.
I mean, even first-round guys are waiting 2 years before they get into the league for the most part. Very rarely does an 18-year-old kid. That's why Connor Bedard is so special.
And Celebrini and is it Schneider?
Schneider, the kid with the aisles, yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't think so at all.
Whoops, didn't turn the mics off. Thank goodness I didn't swear.
Yeah, I ate half. I'll go next commercial break. I'll eat the other half.
Canada Relief, I don't, because I don't have the NHL network. It's not part of YouTube TV, so I do not ever watch the World Juniors. And I don't really have a whole lot of interest. I get that it's good hockey. My son's a puckhead. He loves it, but he's usually watching Red Wing prospects. So he'll watch, if one's on Sweden, he gets all excited. There's so much to watch. I just don't have time, Canada Relief, to be brutally honest. It's really good hockey. I get how important it is in Canada particularly. It's not on my radar.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton. On this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Not as big as the other weekends with just one college football game, unless you count the FCS and other levels. I do think in short order, this will become a very big weekend of college football, Mark. I don't see how college football can continue to surrender this weekend. The first 2 weekends of December, the NFL, by federal law, cannot play games on Saturday. If you're college football, I don't know how you can't take advantage of that in a big way. Friday and Saturday night playoff games. Don't you have to?
Yes.
And
absolutely.
It's why I think there are many who believe that this has been a golden age for the Army-Navy game, that they've had a generational run where they were given its own time slot and then its own day. And I think that that's going to end here very soon. In fact, there's a part of me that wonders, is the Army-Navy game going to have to get moved into late November down the road? Maybe not right away, because they've scheduled this sucker out for a while. But I'm wondering, Mark, is this going to have to become the regular season finale?
I think it should be. But you and I are on polar opposite ends when it comes to this game.
Right.
We always have been. And I have just learned to shut up and let you wax poetically about the game, because people get mad at me because they think I'm taking a shot at the servicemen, which I'm not. I just don't enjoy the football.
Right.
These guys are amazing. If my child were like, my brother-in-law he is an Air Force grad from the academy. I don't think people have any idea just how damn difficult it is to get into one of the service academies. They are amazing young men and women. Amazing. I cannot say enough great things about those young men and women that are able to get into the service academies. I just don't care about the football.
There are many parts to the game which I adore. And yes, I can wax poetically and maybe bore the heck out of many of you about this game. But favorite graphics that we do during the game, Mark, we will highlight 3 or 4 people during the game. And then, like once a quarter, we will just show you their daily academic schedule. And then, oh, by the way, there's, and there's no NCAA limit on football practice either. That they have to devote a little extra time. They get to devote a little extra time. It's the Army. I mean, what, really? NCAA is going to come down on Army Navy? Really? So I love when we put up the daily schedule. Okay. And you look at it and you go, in all seriousness, we got a lot going on in our country. We have for quite a while now. All right. And certain people have different feelings about how things are going. If you get to spend 3+ hours around that game, you'll feel very good about the future of our country. You really will. You'll go, well, in many ways, we're in good hands. Look at these men and women. Look at what they're doing. Wow. So, but anyway, it's in Baltimore, 3:00 tomorrow afternoon in the East. And then I think they have a little run of playing games in Philadelphia. They've moved this sucker around a little bit. We were in Foxborough a few years ago. We were in D.C. last year. Baltimore tomorrow. It'll be Gary Danielson's 17th and final Army-Navy game. No television broadcaster has broadcasted more Army-Navy games as a play-by-play man or an analyst. None. Not even close, to be honest. So, and it was nice that both Army and Navy behind the scenes, they both acknowledged Gary. All right, this week. Pretty cool of them. Pretty cool of them. So, Navy favored by 6, by the way. Army had a nice long run in this game after Navy had a huge run in this game. Navy had won like 11 in a row or something like that. Then Army's had a run. Navy stopped the run last year. And Navy damn near qualified for the American Conference Championship game this year. They've had a good 2-year run since they got rid of Ken Niumatalolo. So, Navy, Army, Navy. The midshipmen, a 6-point favorite in Baltimore tomorrow afternoon.
And there was a moment this year where Navy still had a way to get themselves into the college football playoff because they were in the hunt in the American. And I bring that up because don't you have to say in our lifetimes, not going back to Staubach and when Army and Navy were winning natties and all of those things. I'm not trying to bring that up. But in the modern sports era, if you will, what David Robinson did with Navy in basketball is one of the great sports accomplishments of our lifetime. He took them to an Elite 8.
Yes, he did.
An Elite 8. Navy in basketball. Think about that.
Mark, you know me and loving my little guys. I think it's one of the greatest Sweet 16 games ever. Navy and Cleveland State. And I believe it was a 1-pointer won by Navy. Winner goes to the Elite 8. Navy and Cleveland State. Hello.
So I just, that to me, and there have been some athletes from both that have played in the NFL and done well, but obviously David Robinson's one, a great NBA player and was at Navy.
Mm-hmm.
So there, there's my Army Navy for you. That's as good as I can do. Jerry, I'm out.
They changed a few rules, I think, because of David Robinson. Okay, first off, you weren't allowed to be that tall and be on the sub. And they're like, yeah, we're keeping him. I don't know what to tell you. Just exceptions to the rule. I know we're not big on that here, but can we work something out? And then the whole how much time in between you got to give us before you go pro, and can there be exceptions? And yeah, it's why. And he's still alive, and unless he's in poor health, he'll be at the game. But you think about the career Roger Staubach had. I mean, he didn't go straight from Navy to the NFL. No, he put in 5. He gave 5 years to the Navy in the 60s. Now, he would organize his, quote, leave, and a couple of times his leave was Cowboys training camp. And then he went back and served. But, we talk about the 5 years that Ted Williams gave to the country during his prime. I mean, Roger Staubach gave, ages 22 to 27, and we didn't see him on the football field. And then he was Roger Staubach and took the Cowboys to 4 Super Bowls and won 2. And yeah. Right.
I don't want to do it. We need a poll question. And the only thing in my head right now is how much of the Army-Navy game are you going to watch? And I think that's a mean question. Because if it doesn't work out in a certain way, it may honk David Moulton off.
No. Listen, when we first started this nearly 20-year venture, you and our former producer were very anti the game. You called it Division III football. You said it doesn't interest me from a football standpoint. You guys are very pro the troops.
Absolutely.
Then and now, you were. And you would say, listen, I respect the hell out of them, would want them in my family, would want them marrying people in my family. So I do want to defend the both of you there. But you guys were very dismissive of the game, didn't find the caliber of football entertaining, and you just didn't want to watch. You'd watch maybe a little bit of the pageantry leading up to the game. And shortly after kickoff, you'd be like, that's it, I'm good. And I had no problem standing up to the two of you and proudly going, yeah, that's my favorite game of the year. And I still feel that way.
Stand up to the two of us, and sometimes would yell at us.
Well, yeah.
Because we had a habit of double teaming you. I mean, we had a habit of when we knew there was a breaking point for one David Moulton, we would try as hard as we could to get him there.
It was the closest I ever came to having siblings. Okay, it would be during those discussions where all of a sudden you're in a house and you're getting teamed up on. I never had that. It was me and my mom. Okay, there was no teaming up. There was the rules you had to follow, and then the rest of life. I mean, that's it. But yes, that was when I felt like I had two brothers. And I'm like, oh, come on. You guys are just rubbing it in now. I already said it's 2-1. You're going to win the whole deal. No, it wasn't enough sometimes.
That was number one. Number two is David, for a long time when he lived in Southwest Florida, was the voice of FGCU basketball, men's and women's. And John and I would do our play-by-play of women's basketball.
Yes, you would.
And basically it was bounce pants to Becky.
Yes.
Becky misses the layup.
Yep.
That was basically it.
Yep.
And David would become unglued.
Those
were the two times that we could stop the show and he would have to walk out during the commercial breaks. Usually it was me that would go get a drink of water and maybe just stretch my legs. It would be David. And John and I would sit for the 6 minutes or whatever during commercial break. and laugh and he'd come storming back in. And David's an angry walker. There's no other way to describe it. Kind of a little bit of a lean forward, and he's moving, not slowly either. And he'd come storming back through the door with his cup of water. He'd set it down, and it would be silence for a good 30 seconds, and then we'd start the show. Miller and Moulton.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
RCB, it kind of does. You're right. It kind of does. So, David, you'd be proud. I got a text, a couple of them in the last week, because Kessel finally got a place because he's been staying in his condo, and they finally got a house out in the country that they wanted and closed on it. And he texts me, he goes, all right, his wife's like, enough with the $200 cable bill. We don't need it. You're getting something different. So he's like, what do you do? And I'm like, YouTube TV. And we're going, how do I do? Like, I mean, you and the two of you could sit down for 5 hours and not have a clue how to get the damn television on. I was, because he's like, so what do I got to get? And we're going back and forth. And yesterday, all of a sudden, I get a text. So what do I got to do to watch the game tonight? I'm like, do you have Amazon Prime? He's like, yes. I'm like, you need to download the app from your Fire Stick, and that's really it. It's pretty simple from there. I go, just if you need me, call me. You might have to FaceTime me so I can see what you're doing. And I texted him yesterday. He never got back to me. So this morning, he's like, yes, I can do Amazon now. Just need to figure the rest of this blank out. I'm like, you and David should get in a room together. This is fantastic. He is so angry about having to go to streaming. Like, I mean, he is kicking and screaming having to go to streaming.
Yeah, Baxberg, I haven't heard anybody experience what you're experiencing watching Thursday Night Football. So if there's anybody else, and it's interesting to me that it only happens for you on Amazon when you're watching the NFL.
I hate to tell you this. The odds are it's the stupid fix. You're going to need to take the Fire Stick out, unplug it, and typically it just says you got to plug it in. You know, it's engineering 101. Start there.
Turn it off, turn it on.
How far, Adam? I've always been decent with technology. I don't want to say I'm great because I'm old, but I've always been pretty good. I may bring up what my afternoon was like yesterday.
Okay.
Exactly, Brian. Exactly. Typical IT fix.
Are we
plug it back in again?
Are we doing picks this week?
Oh yeah, we got to. Holy crap. Are you ready?
I am.
Give me a minute. I got two.
I can go first.
You have to. You were like undefeated last week.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
$21 past the hour. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Steve Carney to talk Army, Navy, and a little Tampa Bay Lightning coming up. Pat Kirwan at the top of the hour to talk all things NFL. And a little over an hour from now, we'll go knee-deep into the NASCAR settlement with Brad Gillie from the Performance Racing Network. Bucks disappointed Miller and Moulton. Just as fans, never mind the fact that we both liked them -4 last night. Felt pretty good with a 2-touchdown lead early in the fourth. Even felt good at 28-20 mid-fourth with the ball across midfield. Oh, boy. Atlanta with the win. Tampa in a whole lot of trouble. This is the opposite of the last few years, Mark. You know, Bucks have gotten in a few holes the last few years and have finished strong. Heck, the one year they were 4-7 and won the division. I think they even won a playoff game. This year, 5-1, 6-2, and the house seems to be coming apart at the seams. I went 6-2 last week. I don't know why, how, what was in the water, what I was eating or drinking when I made the picks. I don't. Mark, I'm going to shock the heck out of you. I'm only taking 5 games this week.
Well, I'm taking 6 only because 5's not been working for me. So I had to at least get above the Mendoza line. But you were 6-2. I had to pick 11 games to win as many as you, but I was 6-5. But
Hey,
that 6-2 should lead us off.
you've had back-to-back winning weeks picking 11 games.
Exactly. By the way, Lee had a rough year on the show, just for what it's worth. This is probably Lee's worst year he's ever had on our show. Not probably. I'd bet on it. And these aren't his picks for his clients, but he's still always done pretty well with these.
Yeah, he's always been above above water, but picking games this year, not so much. I believe he's above water on the game of the week.
8-8.
Okay.
8-8 on his games of the week, 32-43 on the year. David, with a 6-2 week last week, improved his record to 48, and that's 48 and
67.
Oh, I just turned my mic off when I said the second part.
No, I'm 19 below 500. Can't wait for the bowl games to start. I need 147 chances to try to get back to the Mendoza line. Well, I feel obligated to play Army-Navy. It's the only college game we got. I root for Army. I will be rooting for Army. Navy's the better team, and Navy can score some points. And this is an okay Army team. I'm actually surprised the line is under 7. Give me Navy and lay the 6, Mark. And this is a very Mark Miller week from me. I'm only picking 5 games, which is usually what Mark does until he, starts losing and then he starts chasing like a typical gambler. And B, Mark, I've never done this before. I'm taking 5 favorites. Navy -6. Give me the Giants laying 2.5 to beat Washington in Jersey and cover, screwing up their great draft position. I am fascinated by the fact that the 2 teams in the NFL who have each won 10 in a row are both home underdogs this Sunday. And I don't know how to take that. I'm going to play a hunch and take the Bills laying the 1.5 against New England for one reason and one reason only. Patriots have struggled in the red zone, settled for a lot of field goals. I do think you need to score touchdowns to beat Josh Allen. Mark, the Saints do not sweep the Panthers. Carolina wins in New Orleans. They only have to cover 2.5. And I'm happy for J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings. I want him and them to do well. I have a soft spot for the Vikings with my time in Fargo. Dallas with 10 days. I like them laying 5.5 at home against the Vikings. I think they make the Flores blitz pay with Dak and the receivers. So give me Navy, the Giants, the Bills, the Panthers, and the Cowboys, 5 favorites.
Well, I am also taking 5 favorites, and I am only taking 5 games, not 6, because I realized before I started that there was a certain player out on one of the teams I was looking at, and I can't justify making that pick now. David, we agree on 3 games. This bodes well. I also like Navy laying the 6.5 against Army. They're clearly the better team. I like Carolina. Do you really think Carolina is going to get swept by New Orleans? I don't. It's 2.5. I'll take the Panthers. And I don't think the Bills are getting swept by the Patriots. The Patriots, their defense is really good, but I just think Josh Allen can will a team to a win sometimes. I think that's this week for Buffalo. I'll take the Bills and lay the 1.5. One other close spread game that I'm taking just because I don't see a sweep. And Joe Burrow yesterday talking about he's not having any fun. And I mean, I don't think Joe Burrow quit on the Bengals. I don't. But something's not right there. That relationship is starting to sour. I'm going to take Baltimore and lay the 2.5 against Cincinnati. And who the hell's playing quarterback for Indianapolis?
Are you going to lay the points?
Seattle smokes teams. Seattle has no problem blowing teams out. I'm going to lay the 13.5 with Seattle against Indy. So those are my 5. 5 favorites, all of them pretty little numbers with the exception of Seattle and Navy laying a little less than a touchdown. I was 6-5 last week, 40-46 on the season. There's still hope, everybody. There is still hope.
taking 10 favorites, are we? Granted, 3 of them are the same. So really 7 favorites, but wow. So we agree on Navy laying 6, Carolina laying 2.5, and the Bills laying 1.5. You like the Ravens to not get swept by the Bengals, and you'll lay the 2.5. I like the Giants to not get swept by the Commanders and laying the 2.5. And then you're laying the big points with Seattle, 13.5. And I'm laying 5.5 with the Cowboys at home. They need a 4-game winning streak to have any realistic shot of making the playoffs.
You know, I thought, David, about going Montana State and laying the 13.5 against Stephen F. Austin, but I couldn't do it.
I understand.
And, you know, Illinois State's a dream season. Can they keep it going? They're a 2.5-point dog against UC Davis.
Well, they were a 24-point dog in Fargo and beat the Bison last week.
So those are your FCS semis this weekend.
We'll make our straight-up NFL picks coming up in our bonus hour. We have flip-flopped back and forth for pretty much a month and a half, where either I get the better of Mark, do we disagree on 3 to 5 games, and I get all the games we disagree on right, or Mark gets all the games we disagree on right. So we keep swinging big swings back and forth in the season-long contest. I had the big week last week, opened up a 5-game lead. We'll do our picks coming up in the Diamond District bonus hour. So for the record, officially, no FCS bets.
No FCS bets. If I were to make one, it would be Montana State, but I should.
I'm going to just write that down and put it in parentheses and just see how it goes.
Pat Kirwan coming up at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. Brad Gillie to talk NASCAR. But when we come back, we'll talk Army-Navy and some lightning with Steve Carney on Miller and Moulton. Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
There's something magical about the holidays, and at the Diamond District, it's the season we look forward to all year long.
The lights, the laughter, the feeling of giving. That moment someone opens a gift that truly sparkles.
When you walk through our doors, our team is ready to welcome you with warmth and expert guidance. No pressure, just people who love helping you create unforgettable moments.
Stunning diamond jewelry to wrap up the wonder of the season.
The Diamond District, se habla español.
At the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I'm going to say something that kind of hurts to say. And I don't mean to do it because I love him. And his garlic sauce is still second to none. But Uncle Rico's is better than Grandpa's. It's better pizza. It just is. And Little Sicily is not even in the same league. They do a nice job. I love Little Sicily. It's a great little restaurant. Like to sit down there and get a pie. It's a good pie. It's not in Uncle Rico's league. I know they won the best pizza of Lee County, but we all know those things are fixed because you can stuff the ballot. Yeah, it's not close, Fly Panda. I'm with you. I don't think it's close. Yeah, it's not, and it's not close, Michael. I really, and I think Grandpa's is second best, and I think there's a canyon between the two. And it's a long drive home with those pizzas. So I actually had one in the car. I'm like, I'm having one right out of the oven before it gets a little soft. So good. My car this morning still smells like Uncle Rico's pizza. I got in the car this morning. I was like, this is fantastic. I sent Carney the link. I've been thinking about hitting King's Tacos, Fly Panda. I nearly stopped there yesterday. I had a pretty good eating day. I had to go see Jimmy the Beef Guy get paid, and had a Jimmy the Beef Guy for lunch and Uncle Rico's for dinner. That's a good day right there.
I just text him saying, should we call or are you connecting?
The angry burrito at King's? Is that what you're talking about there? All right. The angry pizza or whatever that they have at with the hot honey and that small pepperoni at Rico's is there. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Went with just the burrata yesterday for something different, and then my normal pepperoni mushroom pie. That's the house pie at the Miller household. That burrata pizza is pretty damn good. Wish there was more seats in Rico's.
Where is it?
Hanson and 41.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till Pat Kirwan joins us to talk all things NFL. And we'll have to start with the Bucs' fourth quarter collapse last night, which seems like the beginning of the end for Todd Bowles in Tampa. Falcons with a big 29-28 win, devastating to Tampa Bay. Carolina Panthers now very much in control of the division. If they go to New Orleans and win this Sunday, then the only way the Bucs can overtake Carolina is by sweeping them in the final 3 weeks of the season. That would be it, because these are back-to-back division losses for Tampa Bay, and Carolina only has the one division loss to New Orleans. So a split right now is not doing the Bucs any good, unless the Saints can sweep Carolina this Sunday, and both Miller and Moulton do not think that's going to happen.
David, we do anything for our children, but I think I may have made one of the more ultimate sacrifices yesterday. Because I love going to watch my daughter participate in any of the sports she plays. I'm at all the practices. I'm at all the games. I love it. Long story, I didn't get to do as much of it with my son as I would have wanted to, so I don't miss it with my daughter, ever. And I mean, yeah, not ever, but I mean, mostly ever. I've missed a game or two. There are things that have happened in life. But she's a 6th grader. And at her school, they have a 6th grade basketball team. My daughter does not play on the basketball team, but 2 of her friends do. One of them is a good friend. And the good friend really wanted her to see one of her games. And the friend actually spent a day with us, and she came to one of Maddie's soccer games. And so Maddie felt that she kind of owed her one. So yesterday at 4 p.m., I took in a girls' 6th grade basketball game
That your daughter was not playing in.
That's correct.
So
that's correct. David,
just...
I almost witnessed something that I'd never seen in basketball in my life. A shutout. It was, I think, 32 spit at the end of 3.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm now quietly rooting for the other team because I just want them to score.
Sure.
I'm like, they've got to score. And I even told my daughters, I've never seen a shutout in basketball, and I don't want to see one today. And and my daughter's friend had a couple of buckets. She's not one of the best players, so I was happy to see that young lady knock down a couple of shots, and they don't go in that often. I mean, none of the shots go in that often.
Does the coach up 32? Did he freely substitute? Did he just play a soft zone?
Both teams went man-to-man or girl-to-girl throughout the game.
Okay.
I don't think they had learned to pack in the 2-3 zone and let the other team score. But the girls were trying to have a little pressure, and the coach of the team that my daughter's school was kind of like, back off. Get to the other side of half court. Let's you trying as best she could. Took the 2 best players out. There was only 7 girls on the team. So took the 2 best players out for long periods of time. And finally, in the 4th quarter, the opposition knocked down a couple of buckets. And what made my day was at 36-4, the girl from the other team knocked in a 10-foot shot. And you would have thought it was a buzzer beater to win the game. Her excitement for making that shot made my day. That made it all worth it. That and the fact I got to stop at maybe the best pizza joint in Lee County on the way home and pick up pizza. I mean, At the end of the day, you got to take care of yourself. When you make these sacrifices, there has to be a reward. My reward was really good pizza.
I'm just impressed you didn't drop your daughter off and, hang out in the car and listen to NFL radio or something like that. I'm impressed that you went in and you toughed it out. Wooden bleachers?
Yeah. Yeah,
wow.
and lots of cheerleaders. They start the cheering at a very young age, and they were marching them out there at every timeout, like 2 at a time, to do something. I don't know exactly what it was they were doing. And then they had a little halftime thing, and I got a kick out of that. But no, I mean, I was there, and my daughter's friends' parents were there. They both saw me and were like, kind of the holy cow. It's kind of, because we're new in the school. This is only the second year, so I don't know all of these parents. It's just, it's a Catholic school, so most of these parents know one another, and they've been going there since either kindergarten or even before that. So, yeah, it is my first ever appearance at any function at that school. I've never, we've not been there's no play. My daughter doesn't do the plays or the music. So she does her own sports, and none of them are there. So that was my first real appearance at that place. So no one knew who the hell I was, and no one cared. But
okay, so there wasn't like a group of parents gossiping about you. Who is this guy, this strange man at our game? One of the parents didn't eventually venture over in the second half and go, "Excuse me, are you new here?"
I got none of that. My daughter sat next to me, and she had her uniform on. So just with that,
gotcha.
I belong. You got the kid next to you in the uniform, so it's
right.
like, oh, all right.
So you weren't creepy,
old
guy, right? You served the purpose.
Yep.
Okay.
I will say my favorite thing about it, and I didn't know going in, because high schools, I don't think there's a high school event now that you get in for free. And I was fully expecting, and hell, I have to pay, and you know this because your daughter did cheer. When we have these events for gymnastics across the state, that you pay a boatload of money to get into. You have to get hotels, you have to travel, and then they charge you usually around $20 a head to watch your daughter compete for what is about 4 minutes total time in the course of 2.5 hours. It's outrageous. No admission last night. I was stunned. I was fully prepared for somewhere between $5 and $10 a head to have to pay to get in the door.
So no parking.
No parking. No parking.
And no entry fee.
Yeah.
Wow.
And if you wanted to bring your own water or soda in, they didn't stop you.
Wow. This is very 70s or 80s. Oh my goodness. I can't believe you didn't call me. You should have FaceTimed me. We never FaceTime. I would have thought something was horrifically wrong. You would have made my day. You would have been like, I'm at the greatest sporting event ever. Well, what do you mean? I'm at a 6th grade girls basketball game. Are you pulling my leg? No. Free parking, free admission. I brought in my own sandwich.
Yep.
Hold on a second. And then you pop open, keep it to pop. Okay. But you pop open a soda and you go, did you hear that? Yep. Brought that in too.
Right.
I may not even throw it in the garbage. I may just leave it here in the wooden bleachers for them to clean up afterwards. I may really go 1977 on them. Wow.
So, of all the things, if you would have told 40-year-old Mark Miller that he was going to be at a 6th grade girls basketball game that his kid or even grandkid was not participating in, you would have won a lot of money taking the other side.
Mark, I don't know how to tell you this. If I had told 50-year-old Mark Miller, okay, who had a daughter who was what, in kindergarten or 1st grade?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. If I had told 50-year-old Mark Miller, hey, by the way, here's your future, you would have been like, no flipping way, dude. I mean, I love her, but not that much. Okay. All right.
So that was my early afternoon yesterday. My reward was pizza, and it was delicious.
Fantastic. Miller and Moulton, Brad Gillie will join us in a little less than an hour to talk about what could go down. Think about this, Mark. For those of you who are not even NASCAR fans, which is most of our audience, Mark, historically, is Michael Jordan going to go down as one of the 5 most important people in the history of 2 sports?
Well,
I
I
mean-
mean, obviously we know in one for sure. David, maybe in the 21st century. I mean, because if you were to put all of NASCAR in, I don't think he'd crack the top 5. But in the 21st century, what happened yesterday it is beyond significant. And I think that's a great question to ask Brad Gillie coming up next hour.
Mark, I think Michael Jordan has a chance to be the Jerry Jones of NASCAR. Jerry Jones changed the business model for the NFL. They fought him. They threatened lawsuits. Okay. He's like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm in the right. You're in the wrong. Sue me. Okay. I can't make money if we don't do it this way. I can't believe you people haven't been doing it this way. And ultimately, they came around to Jerry's way of thinking. And he's in the Hall of Fame because he changed the NFL business model, and he changed it very much for the good. And I really wonder, Mark, if Michael Jordan is going to go into the NASCAR Hall of Fame one day. It'll take a while for this new business model to take hold and what have you. But I wonder, Mark, if they will talk about Michael Jordan in NASCAR the way they talk about Pete Rozelle and or Jerry Jones from a business standpoint in the NFL.
I like the Jerry Jones comparison. I really do. Because your point is valid. Like, we were talking about Robert Kraft getting in the Hall of Fame, and he's upset he's not there. But, yeah, Jerry hasn't won championships in a while. I get it. But what he did to make that business better for all of the owners, for every single owner, has to basically thank Jerry on a daily basis for what he did for them. And that's what Michael did yesterday for all of the other owners in NASCAR. It's beyond significant. It's a monster change in business. Now, they got to figure out how to make their sport more attractive, because the difference between the two, as while Jared did that on the business side, that sport became the number one sport in America.
Mm-hmm.
NASCAR is, since Michael's been in it, NASCAR has been on a consistent decline in popularity, even from their own fans.
Yep.
I don't know what brings new fans to that sport. I don't. I mean, Jeff Gordon brought new fans to that sport. Danica Patrick brought new fans to that sport. What is bringing new fans to NASCAR? That's the question you have to ask going forward. Because you're right, he may end up being in the NASCAR Hall of Fame as an owner, but where is NASCAR 10, 15 years from now? How popular is it? But I don't see anything out there that's making that sport more popular. I mean, I can look at every baseball. They've done a bunch of things that have made the sport more watchable. Now with the automatic strike zone, I think that helps as well. Hockey's got great young players, and they've moved to markets, and they have had some growth. The NBA with their new deal, some of us don't like the style of the game, but the game for young people love it. The views are there. There's not that same vibe with NASCAR. Nowhere. Not from the young fan, not from the old fan.
5 years into Jerry Jones's tenure as owner of the Dallas Cowboys, the NFL made a bold move, and Jerry had to talk a lot of the old guard into doing it who didn't want to do it. And they embraced this fairly new network called Fox. And it seems as if it's been overlooked now. But leaving CBS, the Tiffany of networks, a Rolls Royce of a network, the home to Madden and Summerall, and the NFC games for a generation, to go with 21 Jump Street? Wait, The Simpsons? What, Fox?
Hey, we've heard of those shows. Go back and just go to YouTube and search Fox NFL promos for shows you've never heard of. And you're listening to Pat Summerall mention shows that I'm telling you, you won't remember were even on the air. It's one thing for Summerall to say, and coming up tonight, Married with Children, because that show turned out to be a monster. But there was some things that they were talking about that basically never got through the 5 test shows that they did for said show.
After 60 minutes, murder, she wrote. Right. And then he was introing shows that lasted an hour with stupid names on a network nobody watched. Pat Kirwan talking NFL next.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
2025 Industry Appreciation Awards in Fort Myers have wrapped up, but the celebration of business excellence continues, hosted by the Lee County Economic Development Office, Horizon Council, and Horizon Foundation. This annual event honors the innovators, job creators, and community builders driving the region forward. Visit industryappreciationawards.com to see this year's winners and learn how local businesses are shaping a stronger, more resilient economy for Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah!
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Morning, Pat.
Good morning.
How are you?
Mark.
Yeah, I'm here. You can't hear me?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah,
I hear you.
We hear you.
do you hear us, Pat?
You got me?
Yeah, I got you, Pat.
we
You have
got
us.
All right. Ready to roll when you are. I don't hear Mark, though.
That's
You should.
weird.
I don't know why you don't.
I hear you, and you hear me. Mark is not part of that.
So you hear me.
Yes.
Interesting.
And you hear me,
And I
And
hear
David
Mark.
hears me.
and I do not hear Mark.
Huh. Did you hear Mark when we were on the air and you
Yes. I was listening to the two of you discuss all that.
Mark, did you hit a button go into commercial?
No, if you can hear me, Pat should be able to.
Yeah. This is weird.
It's on Pat's end. Tell him to log. Tell him to
And we
log.
can try to get on again.
Yes.
Okay. Let me get rid of that.
Hello, hello.
Yeah. If you're trying to talk to us, we don't hear you. Hmm. Should we try the phone?
No, if he hears you, I'll go get some
Oh.
breakfast.
I can't hear him right now. I hear stone silence. Pat, can you hear us? Nothing.
He may have logged out, and sometimes it just still stays there. So give him a half a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Halfway home on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Hello.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. You've already heard the sultry tones of one Pat Kirwan. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains and CBS's NFL Today show. Pat and all our guests joining us on the American Paint Supplies hotline. But Pinchers is proud to sponsor Pat Kirwan's weekly appearances on Miller and Moulton. Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and over a dozen locations in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. Go to pinchersusa.com and get your gift cards now. Pat, hope you can hear us okay. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Great to hear you guys. And I want a seat next to Mark at that basketball game. That's free. And
There you go.
I'll bring a little pizza in a box. So we have 4 slices, 2 each, and we'll enjoy ourselves. I do go to a lot of events like that.
I know. Well, you've done it with the grandkids for a lot of different things, a lot of hockey, a lot of now football. You've made your way through kids sports with your kids and now the grandkids. Pat, we know you talk to Todd Bowles every week. We know how, and I've never heard, Todd doesn't get emotional, but I've never heard him talk like he did post-game. You don't hear Todd Bowles get up and start dropping F-bombs in front of the microphone. He saw his team crumble last night. Pat, that may have cost them the division, and if that's the case, we know what that could mean for his job. That was a tremendous collapse last night by the Bucks, Pat.
Yes, and it was accusatory of effort and commitment for sure. Those F-bombs were followed by statements. And who was he talking to? Now, Baker took as much responsibility as a guy could take, and he was fine doing it because he believes that he should have done better. I think he was talking to the defense. How about it, fellas? That's his side of the ball. And they did not play very well when it counted the most. So, man, a guy wins the division 3 years in a row and you're getting ready to fire him. Not only Tampa. The Jets could never win 3 years in a row. Otherwise, they'd prove they could do it too.
Well, and I believe this will be 4 years in a row.
Yeah.
Okay, or maybe because this coming into this year, the Bucks have made the playoffs 5 years in a row, but it'll be right 3 straight division titles under Bowles, because the
Yep.
first of the 4 straight division titles was under Arians in 2021. And but yeah, they've lost 5 of 6, and it looks as if they're not going to win the worst division in the league. And considering what expectations were, but Pat, what do you do when your defense is either getting old before your eyes or is all of a sudden not any good before your eyes? It is seemingly happening in Pittsburgh, but this is Todd's area of expertise. They've invested in a couple of the defensive linemen. They brought Levante David back. They've paid a corner and a safety. And Pat, they can't stop anybody in the last month. Anybody.
Yeah. So it's a good question. What do you do? We all know the cap ramifications. I will say you take the Rams as an example of what you can do. Young defensive players, if you're smart in the draft, you can get 3, 4, maybe even 5, but for more like 4. Your rookies, look what they were able to do and make a young defense fast. And I think they can do that. Baker's not going anywhere. The receiver group looks fine. They did score enough points to win a lot of games if your defense was on target. So I would not be depressed by what has to happen in the offseason. Now, it's not over yet for starters. But I would say this. When I woke up this morning, what did I spend my time on? I spent my time on the Carolina Panthers because they became a feature of what's happening this weekend as they take on New Orleans, who beat them already. And New Orleans has been a spoiler. So I see the opportunity for a number of teams to be spoilers. Maybe last night was a warning that teams that are out of it don't all give up automatically. And Atlanta was saving the job of their head coach, maybe. But we immediately started thinking Todd will get fired for this. What a mistake if that happens. But it could. I know Todd is very quiet most of the time, to your point, Mark. But he's got real principles about what preparation is supposed to be like and what effort's supposed to be like. And I think he has talked very tough to his team in the past. Look, they had 6 losses coming into this game, and he will not use injuries as an excuse. He just thinks if you came to practice, you should be able to win a game. So I don't know what's going to happen, but Carolina's got their hands full. And we all know that Tampa plays them twice. And in between those 2 games, they have to play Seattle. And that's no easy fate. But it starts with New Orleans. New Orleans kind of likes the spoiler role, just like probably Atlanta likes it. So I would be very careful, Carolina, that something great happened for you last night.
And you're right. They need to go now do their job. They lost to them once already. And, Pat, I know you get excited when there are good 1:00 games because they've been taken away from us largely in the NFL, but not this week. I mean, obviously the biggest one is Bills and Patriots, and let's get right into it. The Patriots won the first game. Now they're hosting the Bills. Obviously, they win. The division's theirs. It probably is anyhow. But just how important is this game? I know it's really important for the Bills. They still got to lock in a playoff spot. But for the Patriots, is this more of just proving who they are, showing everybody how good this defense is? When you look at this game, what are the focal points that you're looking at of how it's going to be played and who's going to come out on top?
I think this is a game, you guys might agree with me on this. This is a game where I'll look at Drake May and say, are you good enough to win in the playoffs? If you operate this thing like it is a playoff game, Buffalo has the standard of a playoff team, certainly. They've got a great quarterback who can put pressure on you along with the running back. So I'll be watching Drake May to see, I don't fall for the old number 1 in percentage of completion. Okay, so he's number 1. Tua had that title too. It didn't do any good for him. So the 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. But now I'm going to watch this game thinking, all right, Drake, your performance will tell me if you have a chance to move deep into the playoffs. Because if you're the 2 seed, you're going to be at home for a while until something either bad happens to Denver or that you have to go to Denver. Can you get that far? Will you convince me this week you can do that? That's what I'm watching for. I think Josh will do what Josh always does. He'll put more of the team on his shoulders and do more things to do it. It's interesting, but you got to go all the way back. He really has had some problems with New England, 8-6 total over that period of time. So I like the chances, and I like the pressure that Josh Allen's going to put on New England, meaning Drake May.
Patriots coming off their bye. Patriots with a win the East. Buffalo with a win gets within a game of New England, but New England would own the tiebreaker because of a better division record. So New England's still very much in control in the AFC East. Pat, do you think this game has ramifications for January? Like, do you think a team like the Patriots, if they can beat Buffalo at home and sweep them, that the young team now has the confidence that they can win in the playoffs? That, hey, we don't have to wait our turn behind Kansas City, Buffalo, and Baltimore. It's our turn. And on the other side, if they don't win it, does the young team, they know they're good, but are we really, that good?
Well, 11 wins tells me they are that good. But the loss, if they were to lose this game, is not going to take them out of the 2 spot. It would probably end their opportunity for the 1 spot. But, well, I'll take it a step further because your question involved the playoffs, the same as my thought on this. If the playoff starts tomorrow, Houston's coming to New England. You tell me why you see that game.
A low-scoring slobber knocker where one big play either way can win or lose the game.
Right. And blocking that defense of Houston. Have they even seen a defense like this defense? And that game would intrigue me a lot. And I think there would be, I don't know, you guys, Mark would know this one. Mark, what's the point spread if Houston comes to New England in the first round? 1.5?
Maybe a little higher, maybe 2.5, but not much. Not much. And that, going back to this game, Pat, that's what I mean. Look I know your point on Drake May and getting pressured by Josh Allen, and the Patriot defense has been great, but the Bills defense hasn't. I mean, this is the time that, to me, I've got to see something out of Buffalo's defense on Sunday, Pat.
Yeah, I would love to see it, but I don't think we're going to see it. We've talked a lot about they've got a bunch of injuries. When they lost their big guy inside, their defensive tackle, it really never looked the same. It created instability immediately up front. And New England, with the head coach they have, perfectly willing to run the ball all day long, right at Buffalo. So I think you'd see a lot of that. I'm not expecting Buffalo to go deep in the playoffs. I expect them to make the playoffs, and with Mahomes, probably win a round. And again, not Mahomes, with our friend Josh, but you look and say right now what's going to go on with them. If they got in the playoffs as it is now, they'd be going to Pittsburgh. I'd be taking Buffalo against Pittsburgh. Would you?
Yes.
Yeah, see, that's where I'm wondering if the Bills, because they haven't won a road playoff game since the Jim Kelly era. Josh and them have not won a road playoff game. So to me, though, this is kind of like a couple years ago when, it's going to be different this year because the Chiefs have to go on the road. Yeah, they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But I wonder, though, think about the AFC. If Lamar's not going to make the playoffs, if Mahomes isn't going to make the playoffs, if Burrow isn't going to make the playoffs, but here come Josh Allen and the Bills.
Right.
And that's what I'm wondering. I'm almost wondering for Buffalo, is this their first road playoff game of what is going to have to be a road playoff run?
Yeah, and sooner or later, like I talked to Coach Cowher about it, he won a Super Bowl as a road warrior, and he thought as soon as they broke the ice and won one on the road, he goes, my team liked it. We were not tied up with all tickets and family and all that stuff, and we kind of played to the road thing all the way to a Super Bowl victory. So it doesn't happen a lot, but it could happen. I think you made the biggest point. And I think the three of us said this in August.
30 seconds.
For Buffalo or Baltimore to make it all the way to the Super Bowl, they got to get rid of Mahomes without having to play him. And that looks like it's going to happen.
But
He's
how
back
many
there with
more
them.
of them miss the playoffs? Because obviously Kansas City's up against it, but Baltimore also up against it. The other big game this week, the Broncos and the Packers. We'll talk to Pat Kirwan about that next on Miller and Moulton. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. This December, watch the nation's best high school basketball players compete in the City of Palms Classic. Fort Myers will once again welcome future college and NBA stars as they square off at Suncoast Arena from December 18th through the 23rd. Come see Southwest Florida's own Bishop Verreau versus Barron Collier on Sunday night, December 21st. For tournament information, please visit cityofpalmsclassic.com. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I don't know what happened with that sound, Mark. It was just you and me. I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, you know what? Moulton has the best line in the world. To err is human. To really F.
Mark, you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you now. You don't hear me?
Oh, no, not again.
Yeah, again.
Pat, can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, this
Same
is
thing
weird.
as before.
This is weird. You heard us. We go to commercial. We come out of commercial. You can't hear Mark.
Right.
That's
I don't
very
have time to waste here. I got to turn you up and start over again.
Yep.
God darn it.
I think Pat logged out. Oh, crap.
Got me?
Sorry, Pat.
That's
Yeah, I
okay.
got you. I didn't see you pop back up. Can you hear me?
Yes. You
Okay.
hear me?
Yep, perfectly.
What a weird thing this is.
Yeah, that is strange.
I can always hear David, and I couldn't hear you. But then when you didn't have me turned on, I go, oh, God, do I got to turn this off and start over again? Who knows? Oh, those 1 o'clock games, Mark, thanks for bringing it up, because they're all on CBS. We have Chargers, Chiefs, Buffalo, New England. And I have to add Baltimore and Cincinnati, because Cincinnati could wreck Baltimore's party for good.
Yep.
Be interesting. I asked this question. I'll bring it up later.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan from NFL Radio's Moving the Chains. Weekdays 3 to 7, Saturdays 2 to 5. Sundays, he's with CBS and their NFL Today show. Pat joining us courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers where you can't fake fresh. All right, another headliner, and it's ironic. The two AFC teams with 10-game winning streaks, the top two seeds in the conference right now, both at home, both underdogs. We talked at length about the Bills and the Patriots. Your thoughts on the Packers invading Denver?
Yeah, well, I was there recently. It was a great reminder of what home field advantage should look like everywhere. But that altitude issue eliminated Kansas City's pass rush. And I would assume, as I've been there many times on the football side of it, you can't rush the passer. That's why Denver's 6-0 at home. Do I think Green Bay at sea level could beat them? Yes, I do. Jordan Love, who takes a lot of criticism as inconsistent usually, he's thrown 7 touchdowns in his last 2 games. That's a touchdown every 8 throws. To throw 7 touchdowns in 55 throws is awesome. And he doesn't get sacked and he doesn't throw interceptions. But he's at that place. I'm waiting for Bo Nix to be exposed because he's a great fourth quarter guy. Well, why? Why is he a great fourth quarter guy? Because he's not a great first, second, and third quarter guy. Start looking at his wins. Is it an inflated record? It's a question. 9 wins by 1 score, mediocre against playoff contenders. He's thrown 2 touchdowns in his last 148 throws. If he plays like that, Green Bay could beat him, but I'm not. It's the Green Bay's pass rush. Oh, remember Elway? You guys are historians. All those fourth quarter comebacks, we were part of that. He beat us 3 times. You want to know something? We couldn't rush the passer in the fourth quarter. And I watched Kansas City, who's not very good anyway. They couldn't do anything in the fourth quarter to stop them. So I'll take Denver, but I really would love to see this matchup at a different place.
Well, Denver, not only Green Bay, they've got Jacksonville coming to them. So the Jags, look, this needs to be talked about. And we just kind of always dismiss the Jags. Even David and David lives in Jacksonville. We have a Jags guest on every week. And everybody just dismisses them. I was very critical when they blew the game against Houston. I thought it was the end of their season. All they've done since then is win 3 games and kick the crap out of 2 of the teams they've played. They've got the Jets this week. The likelihood is they'll do it again. Liam Cohn, and we talked about this a little bit last week, Pat. Yeah, Vrabel's probably going to win Coach of the Year. But what Liam Cohn's done, and particularly what he's done after the Houston game, needs to be talked about. That's remarkable to me, Pat.
It is, and we are all guilty of not giving them credit for their record. We keep waiting for something bad to happen, and so it's not going to happen against the Jets. This is the biggest turnover differential swing of the year. This is a swing of 23. We haven't had any in that area before. +8 Jacksonville, -15 the Jets, and the Jets might be sending out a kid who has no chance of beating anybody at quarterback. So, I love when people say Jacksonville's #1 run defense. Well, I said, that might be true, but let's take a harder look at it. Here's the reason it is #1. People throw on Jacksonville. They lead the NFL in having people throw at them. It's almost 40 pass plays per game for the year. So that kind of helps your run defense become number one. They've had a couple games lately where they're holding people under 100. I get it. Be specific. The last 4 weeks, holding them to 63 yards a game rushing. But is it because of good defense? Is it because of lack of attempts? I know one thing. They all want to throw on them, but the Jets can't throw. So this is an easy win for the Jaguars. Story continues as to respect.
Lions at the Rams. Detroit right now is out of the playoffs, a game behind Chicago and San Francisco at 9-4. The Rams, meanwhile, Pat, the next 5 days will probably determine whether they're going to be the 1 seed or the 5 seed. Home for Detroit, and then a Thursday night in Seattle. Your thoughts on Rams-Lions?
I think the Rams beat them, and I'll tell you a lot of reasons why. Detroit's secondary is destroyed. They're nowhere around. So the last 3 weeks, Detroit is giving up, ready? 318 yards passing a game. Well, that's right up Stafford's alley, really. Look at Stafford for the last 4 weeks. 10 touchdown passes, 1 every 12 throws, only 3 sacks. That's 1 every 42 pass plays is a sack. He will have a field day throwing on these guys, and he's going to have to because we know Detroit can score points. They're averaging just a hair over 30 points a game. Talked to Barnes yesterday. He recognized as a Detroit linebacker the issues with these receivers and what has to happen there. And if you overplay it, he'll hand the ball off to Kyron. So I don't think Detroit is built for this out in Los Angeles. And the Ram defense doesn't get enough credit. They're holding people to 17 points a game.
Yeah, I think, the Rams are kind of, you look at their offense, they're like what Detroit was a year ago. They've got a great passing game, obviously, and now they've got a couple of running backs. They're really strong. How much do you take about what Burrow said yesterday, that he's not having fun? Because this is a big game. Cincinnati can ruin Baltimore's season on Sunday, but Burrow sounds like he's checked out.
He did sound strange, to say the least. I don't think on game days he's going to play like he doesn't care. I just think he's really saying something about the future here. And does it mean he wants to be traded? Well, that's not happening. We all know that. So what is he really telling the front office and ownership? Would you help us, please? Can you build a defense? Can you spend some money other places? Sure, he's happy he's got his receivers. We'll see if Higgins even plays. How do you have to come out of protocol 2 weeks in a row? But I do think he's trying to talk to management and ownership without talking. You tell me, David, you're the historian on this one. Does he sound a little bit like Carson Palmer right now?
Well, he sure does, and that ended really well. But what I think it'll mean, it'll be easier for the Bengals ownership to do what, Pat? Get rid of Zach Taylor. Okay. Now, and they may bring in a Chris Shula or a defensive coach and hope that helps on that side of the ball. That's kind of what I could see the window dressing being here.
Let me ask you, though, on that statement.
Yeah.
Would you be okay? I know they won't do it because it's not their style, but Todd Bowles or Mike Tomlin, what if they were free? Did they have the courage to buy a real coach?
Yes, I think so. I actually think so, because I don't think they'll give them authority over personnel, no matter who it is. So, yes, I think they would do that.
That's the kind of guy, a defensive type guy with credentials. You can turn the offense over to the OC. I don't think they will, but I'd love to see him do that if all this happens.
Pat, quickly, we've got about a minute. Chargers, Chiefs. Mahomes still in this thing. Apparently, if they lose, they've got like a less than 1% shot of making the playoffs. If they win, they still have about a 20% chance, although it's unlikely. Do they win at home against the Chargers Sunday?
I don't think so. And I know they're favored and all that stuff. How many times have they lost as the favored team this year?
Right.
I think it's 6 times. So I'm not buying the favored, by 5.5, 4.5, whatever it turns into. I think there's a lot of good stuff going on with the Chargers right now. And the Chargers already beat them once. That doesn't mean they can beat them again. but I do like where the Chargers are at right now. And Kansas City is limping, to say the least. And they can't ask Spags to do more than he's doing, and I don't know that he can. Think about what Herbert did the first time. 318 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's going to have a field day throwing against that defense.
Yeah, he had an offensive line that first game. He doesn't have one now. I know they beat the Eagles. I just want to throw this out there. They threw for less than 150 yards. They had to settle for 5 field goals despite getting all those turnovers. Pat, they end with the Chiefs, at the Cowboys, the Texans, and at the Broncos, and they're wounded. I'm telling you, they could have an Indianapolis Colts-like fall here. Don't count the Chargers in the playoffs just yet. He's Pat Kirwan of NFL Radio here on Miller and Moulton.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Left Twix, when you say something that's stupid, and it is stupid, it's very tough to be taken seriously, like for the rest of time. Can you look up the definition of average? And then see where 19 consecutive winning seasons fits in the definition. I mean, God, you guys are, everybody effing sucks to you guys. And I mean everybody. Your parents suck. Your kids suck. Michael Jordan was pretty good. I mean, God.
That's what David, I
Hey.
said it for a while. The Twitch chat room, for the last couple of weeks, they are after everybody.
Everybody sucks.
There's a couple people in there that are positive, and you know who you are. But for the most part, all of you just attack. And Michael, if we don't say great things about your team, you get horribly offended. We get it. The Broncos have a really good record. And because they've not been good in 3, I mean, you just attacked Pat Kirwan. Michael, do you really think you know more than Pat about football? Do you really think his comments were mean to you, like he's picking on your team? It's laughable.
What is 95.3?
I think it's a Denver radio station.
Oh.
Ooh, the alley's been closed since midnight.
Oh, that's a problem. Both
Close
directions?
Both directions. According to Wink News an hour ago, since 12:11 a.m. due to a deadly multi-vehicle crash. Wow. That's terrible. At mile marker 95, too. That's pretty close to us. I mean, the end of it's like 90. I mean, the Golden Gate exit's 101.
Why does it have to be closed in both directions?
I have no idea. But from the looks of things, David, I mean, just the picture they have on here. Wow. All right, I got to call Brad. Let's talk some NASCAR. I'm so happy you watched that Magnum PI thing. That's just, I just saw that because I went to your thing to get the phone number. That's just so great.
I agree, Coffin Ball. I think it's a watch. Yeah. Yeah, Shinzer. Driving to Baltimore tomorrow morning. Drive to Pittsburgh Sunday morning. Hoping to avoid the snow. I don't know if I'm driving the turnpike, though. Curious what the fastest route is. I know it's 4 hours.
Top 5 phone right there, David. It was top 5 phone. I'm just telling you.
Is that you or him?
Me. I even wished him a Merry Christmas. I don't know if you know who you're doing the show with anymore.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Final segment of the week in Live Oak Lake City and surrounding areas, Port Charlotte, Venice and surrounding areas. Diamond District bonus hour joining us at the top of the hour. Brad Gillie is joining us now. He from PRN, the Performance Racing Network. He's also part of SiriusXM's NASCAR Radio. Follow Brad on X at Brad Gillie, Gillie. Brad, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this. I just want to say before we go any further, thanks for all you do for us. We are very thankful of you and for you, and we're wishing you and your family a merry and a happy welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much, and same to you, same to anyone listening right now. Really appreciate it. Love that you guys cover NASCAR as well.
All right. Well, we've talked about this trial probably more than most, particularly during football season, because that's tough to break into at anything for anything. But how big is the settlement to you? How much, does this fundamentally change the sport? How much better is this for the drivers and owners? And how much is still unknown?
There is a bit unknown. So, number one, I think this is huge. This is definitely, one of those turning point moments in the sport. And we've had several throughout the more than 75-year history of NASCAR, but this is a big one. Number one, it's big for the teams because they're going to get some more revenue from the league. And as things evolve, the teams have said we need more revenue. Now, I do think there is some credence to, maybe there should be a spending cap at some point, but that's not what this is about. So I think that's a really good thing. Here's the other thing. Right now, this is big because it's over. And what you have had for the last 16 months, and really before that, as we had talked about the team charters being renegotiated, is animosity back and forth. And a lot of negativity out there in the press and a lot of negativity around our sport out there in the world. And anytime you have that, look, everyone's going to take some sort of a side. And, whether you're all the way on the team side or all the way on NASCAR side or somewhere kind of in between, you're still taking a little bit of a side. I feel like that can be over right now. I think one of the most powerful images coming out of this whole court case was yesterday seeing Michael Jordan standing right next to Jim France, talking about how now we can come together as a sport, now we can move forward. And I think that's a great thing. I really hope, and I do feel that any negativity surrounding all of this can be wiped away. And truthfully, it clears a pathway for Michael Jordan to become a real face for the sport. I really applaud him on just how he's treated this whole situation, both when he was on the stand and coming out of the courtroom. I think that's a good thing. And then just for the sport in general, what this does as well is stabilizes things, because with the teams getting a little more revenue, that's one thing. The fact that they're team charters, which people compare to franchises, they're not quite that, but the fact that the team charters become what they call evergreen or permanent stabilizes things in a way that if I'm Justin Marks, who owns Trackhouse, if I'm Richard Childress or Rick Hendrick, or any one of these other team owners out there, now I know I have a much more tangible asset than what I had before. And that asset was pretty tangible before. These charters were, originally trading for, say, around $1 million. And, a handful of years later, now they're trading for $45 million. So that's a big thing. I think the charter value and the team value is going to increase and increase in a pretty rapid way, because with this stability, now it tells new investors that, okay, I've got a firm foundation that I can invest in.
Brad, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I got the sense you talked about the divide in the sport. I got the sense for the first time, NASCAR fan was never against NASCAR. May have had some issues here and there, but they were never against NASCAR. In fact, they would attack someone who attacked NASCAR. I got the feeling, though, in the last couple months listening to NASCAR radio, that the NASCAR fans pretty angry with NASCAR, and more of them were siding with Jordan and Hamlin because they're not happy with the direction of the sport. And I'm just curious, were you getting that sense also? Like, man, I've been taking calls about this for 30 plus years. I ain't never taken calls like this before.
Yeah, and I hear where you're coming from. And look, it makes sense. And, we don't know how this trial would have wound up had the jury ended up making a verdict. Instead, they went ahead and settled. But whether you look at the merits of the case and say, okay, was NASCAR truly operating in antitrust or not, I do feel like the teams were able to present a good case, to have Michael Jordan up on the stand. And again, I think he did a really good job of saying, look, I love the France family. I love the sport. I just think it could be better. Or to have Heather Gibbs up there on the stand, Ty Gibbs' mother, talking about how the day after Ty Gibbs won an Xfinity championship, she lost her husband. He didn't wake up. Those are really powerful things. And I think the case that they were making was a pretty strong one. And when you start to look at things like that, and it's really easy to say, look, all of us want more money from our boss, right? It's easy to look at that and sort of take that side. So when you talk about which way the wind was blowing, I could understand that for sure. And now I think we could put that wind back in a neutral direction or calm it. How about that?
All right, let's just go forward. Obviously, this is better for the drivers, better for the owners. I get all of that. But to David's point on the fans, NASCAR's not getting new fans. This car of tomorrow, to a lot of people who like the sport, hasn't worked. So with this now past us and NASCAR moving forward, how and more importantly, how quickly can they help grow the popularity of the sport again?
I think pretty fast. I really do. And kind of going back to what I was saying about Michael Jordan, look, we saw, people are on one side of the fence and people are on the other. You have the race teams, you have Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin, and really Denny Hamlin, there was a lot of anger that came out of him, and that negativity sort of feeds and gets infectious with a lot of people. Michael standing next to Jim France and saying, hey, we're done, we're together, and everyone walking out of there smiling, I think that sets a tone. So what we've heard and what we've heard coming out of the media centers and from Denny and from Michael and all of that, has been negative. I really think that flips around, and it doesn't just flip around with them. It flips around with everyone. And not that there was negativity coming out of a lot of other places, if you will. I think now when people are, for lack of a better term, holding hands together in unison, then that sends a great message moving forward. So the positivity is something that probably more than anything for me as a fan and a part of the sport is the one thing that I love the most, the potential for a lot more positivity to come out of it. And again, I think those things become really infectious with the fan base as well.
All right. This is what we've heard from fans. Races are too long. It's gotten too expensive. I don't know what network the races are on from week to week. I'm just curious, is there a way for NASCAR to become, it used to be, Brad, and you know this, and you may think it still is, but there was no sport more fan-friendly than NASCAR. I mean, we'll never go back probably to the day where you could bring your cooler in with your sandwiches and what have you, but I mean, there was never a sport as fan-friendly as NASCAR. The NASCAR fan seems to be saying, can we somehow become a little more fan-friendly and less big business? I'm just wondering, do you think they can do that in the 2020s?
Yeah, and honestly, I think they have. To your point about coolers, any track that I go to that has always allowed coolers, that hasn't changed. And you don't see that in any other sporting venue. You don't see in any sporting venue where you come in and park your car and you don't stop and pay $75 to do that, because that's free. When it comes to driver accessibility, more so this past year than ever, and this became a point of contention in the trial, by the way, but NASCAR set up a driver appearance program where the drivers were incentivized to go out and do things. And what that appearance program did was not only put the drivers directly in front of fans more, it also made them happy to be there, which was a really cool thing as well. So I think the fan accessibility in NASCAR is there. As far as ticket prices go, and I can only speak to what I know, I live in Texas and I worked at Texas Motor Speedway for many, many years. As far as I know, the ticket prices haven't really increased as far as what I can even remember back when I worked there full time 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So to me, the fan friendliness and the fan accessibility is there. Another thing that is going to be a new for 2026 thing is that there's going to be a lot more accessibility for fans to be able to get access to the garage. And, that might be another ticket, but, you have to be able to manage that as well. But just the fact that that's available, I mean, could you imagine if for an NFL game, you could literally buy field, the sideline tickets for a game? You can do that in our sport. So I think the fan friendliness from the racetracks and from the sanctioning body has always been there. And that's not even changed. In fact, I think it's increased.
What about the racing itself that you need to see changed? Because, again, I go back to the car tomorrow. The people have their complaints. Is there a particular thing with racing, the on-the-track product, that you think needs to be fixed?
Truthfully, if you look at the numbers and the metrics, I think this is a perception is reality thing. And realize if we go watch an NFL game, we're going to see one team win and another team lose. If we watch a NASCAR race, we're going to see one team win and 35 others not win. And it's real easy to make an excuse for why you didn't win that day. And it's easy to blame something other than yourself, which is the car. Now, I understand the driver's frustration with the car because what now has happened is the teams are so close in their development that there's not a lot of disparity as far as lap times go. And, drivers say, well, it's hard to pass. You can block. You can do this. We actually have more passing than what we've had in the history of the sport. We have more lead changes than under green flag conditions than what we've had in the history of the sport. But when someone comes out of the race car and says, oh, this was awful, well, it might have been awful for you sitting in the car, but for a lot of the people in the grandstands, they were like, wow, watching two drivers run side by side, lap after lap, seeing a guy like Ross Chastain literally come from 40th to win the Coca-Cola 600 just a few weeks after he came from 32nd to finish top 3 at Texas. To me, those are actually compelling storylines, and maybe we can start to tell a lot more of those moving forward.
What do you say to the guy who says get rid of stage racing? Is there any possibility of that happening, or is that here to stay?
Well, I think fans who are not a fan of the current playoffs format might get their wish that that's going to change. I don't know that stage racing will, and truthfully for me, I don't want it to, because just like watching, again, I'll compare it to football because we're in season, boy, you get to the 2-minute warning coming down to the end of the half. Anytime a clock is counting down, anticipation ramps up. And that's what we have with stage racing. Now, anytime that those laps are counting down, anticipation and the angst of the teams out there ramps up in a good way. So I personally like stage racing. I know it's not for everyone. I don't know that will change, but a new playoffs format may actually dictate that it does.
Brad, when you listen to NASCAR, you either go to MRN or PRN. I'm a NASCAR fan. I don't know where the races can be found week to week, month to month on television. Do you think that they need, it'll probably take a while because you got contracts in place, but do you think that NASCAR has to, by the end of this decade, make it easier, as easy it is on radio, to watch the sport?
I hope so. I hope so. We had Fox and NBC for years. Before that, we might have had Fox, TNT, and NBC or something, But I think the hard thing this summer, we went to Amazon Prime, which the coverage was amazing. People raved about it. And just when that picked up steam after 5 weeks, we swapped it to TNT. And even though we had the same broadcasters and all of that, it didn't seem to have sort of the same appeal that what Amazon Prime did. And just when people are like, okay, TNT, bam, now we swap to NBC. But another problem with that is we call it NASCAR and NBC, but most of those races were actually on USA Network. So yes, I agree. There is a lot of confusion as to where things are. And it's just got to be a matter of getting out in front of it and finding a way to do a better job of letting the viewer know where it's going to be. Plus, when you have qualifying shows, the first half of the year, you're going to have it on one outlet. The next half of the year, you're going to have it on another. So now in a given race weekend, you might be watching qualifying, the Truck Series, the O'Reilly Series, and the Cup Series on 4 different networks. And yes, I think there needs to be a better way found to let people know where all of those things are.
Brad, it's 8 weeks away from Speed Weeks. It's 65 days away from the 500. Have a great Christmas and New Year. Thank you for everything that you give this sport. All the best to you and your family, and hopefully we can talk in early 2026.
I would love it. David, Mark, you guys are awesome. Always love talking to you, and can't wait to be back in the Sunshine State here in a couple of months.
Brad Gillie, the Performance Racing Network, SiriusXM's NASCAR Radio. Follow him on X at Brad Gillie, Gillie. Michael Jordan could end up being a top 10 figure in 2 major sports. Remarkable.
And he's bullish on the sport, and I love that because it's where his bread's buttered. I do think, you hear from a lot more NASCAR guys than I do. I just know it was 4 years ago my son was hooked on the sport. He went to like 6 races, hasn't been to one in 3 years. He's 26. If they're missing him, I'm worried. Miller and Moulton, the Diamond District Bonus Hour, and our NFL picks are next. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com, capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 239-444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
There's something magical about the holidays, and at the Diamond District, it's the season we look forward to all year long.
The lights, the laughter, the feeling of giving. That moment someone opens a gift that truly sparkles.
When you walk through our doors, our team is ready to welcome you with warmth and expert guidance. No pressure, just people who love helping you create unforgettable moments.
Stunning diamond jewelry to wrap up the wonder of the season.
The Diamond District, se habla español.
At the Diamond District.
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
This is Miller and Moulton. You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Just spent a little time talking the NASCAR settlement, in which NASCAR caved on a lot and what it will mean for the future of the sport. And quite frankly, now Michael Jordan potentially being staggeringly influential in NASCAR during the last quarter of his life. And will we look back historically and MJ could rank in the top 10 of two major sports? One on the court and off the court, and the other off the track. Remarkable. But let's get back to football.
Football.
It is week 15 of the National Football League. It got underway last night with the Falcons rallying from a 2-touchdown fourth quarter deficit to stun the Bucs 29-28. We picked the game straight up at this hour. I'm 5 up on Mark on the season.
+5. Damn it.
Well,
I had it down to 1. We had 4 different picks. I lost every damn one of them. Thanks for that interception, Joe Burrow. That helped a lot.
Well, you can thank Mr. Hertz for his turnovers as well. That didn't help your cause.
It did not. All right, Washington and the Giants. David, you already took the Giants and laid the small number. I think you're right on this one. No Daniels. That, I think, spells doom for Washington, and this hurts the Giants' draft positioning, but I think the Giants will win.
Will hurt it badly, because I think right now they're in store for, what, pick 1, pick 2?
They are, at this moment in time, pick 1, David. Pick number 1.
Right. And I don't think they would take a quarterback, so they would be in a position to leverage it, get a lot of assets, which they need. They're going to win. And, Mark, one win could take you from what, like 1 to 5, 1 to 6?
Depending on, I think their strength of schedule is still high, so I think it would go 1 to 4. But you have a bunch of teams at 3 and 10, so this could all change a lot over the next couple of weeks. The team that will benefit from the Giants' win is the team that's going to lose to the Eagles on Sunday. Right now, the Raiders have the second overall pick. If we're right about the Giants, the Raiders move into the top spot if they lose to the Eagles, and they will.
Yes, they will. I don't see the Raiders being able to score enough points to pull the upset, despite everything that's going on in Philly. But, boy, do the Raiders need a quarterback. Right? Talk about a team that could really use the first overall pick. It would be Las Vegas.
Cleveland is at Chicago. If the cities were reversed, I'd give Cleveland even more of a chance. I think this game has the potential to be a little sexier than 7.5. Probably should have taken the Browns and the points. Bears win, but by less than a touchdown.
It's going to be one of the coldest games in the history of Soldier Field. High of 10 degrees, wind chill of 10 below. Will be interesting to see the two young quarterbacks, how they handle these conditions. Have to like the Bears' running game in this one, don't you? We both have Chicago.
Yes. I took Baltimore and laid the small number. I think Baltimore wins on the road against an unhappy Joe Burrow. But I'm under 500 in my pick, so I could be wrong on this. I'll take Baltimore. Where are you going, David?
I'm going Burrow and the Bengals. Every time Burrow chirps, they respond, even if he does it in an awkward way. And I think Baltimore may be broken, Mark. Too many injuries. Lamar's not healthy, and he ain't going to get healthy this year. And I don't know that they can overcome that.
Arizona is at Houston. Houston keeps on keeping on. Give me the Texans.
Well, just like Vegas and Philly, I mean, is Arizona going to be able to score enough points? Even if Houston scores 20, quite frankly. Does Jacoby Brissett and company get to 21 or more on the road? I think Houston avoids the upset.
Buffalo and New England, the headliner of the 1 o'clock games. New England wins the division with the win. The Bills still have a shot, although it's a tough one because of division records and things like that. But I do think they split. I think Josh Allen and the Bills go into New England and win. I'll be curious of how many points are scored in this game because Josh is going to have to outduel Drake May. I think he will. Give me the Bills.
The Patriots have played a soft schedule. It's not their fault. Look at some of the quarterbacks they've beaten. This is a clear step up on that side of the ball. They can overcome it if they can start scoring touchdowns in the red zone. They are settling for a bunch of field goals. I think Josh Allen and the Bills win a close one late.
All right. The Jets in Jacksonville. The Jets quit last week against Miami. I thought Aaron Glenn was going to work. I don't know if anything can ever work with the Jets. I'll take the Jags. I mean, I think this is an easy one for Jacksonville. They've done a great job of putting their foot on the throat of bad opponents. They'll do it again this week at home.
But didn't we think that Atlanta quit on their coach last week a little bit? And then look how they responded last night. I don't disagree with you at all, by the way. I do think there was a little lay down in the Jets. And I do think, Mark, they traded away their good players. I mean, they've done it on defense. They don't have an interception all year. They've forced 2 turnovers all year. Their quarterback play is Justin Fields and Tyrod Taylor. Okay, they're bad, and they've turned their roster into bad intentionally. Jags.
Chargers at Chiefs. Now, I'm laughing just when I say this because you have to go to the Wayback Machine in Miller and Moulton because we did this game, 10, 12 years ago. And I made my pick, and I made it really quick, and I made it I was very much there was no hemming and hawing. I was very to the point of my pick. And David's response was, "Are you sure?"
Right. So
Chargers and Chiefs. I'm not sure this time, David. I'm really not. I could flip a coin on this game. I'm going to take Kansas City, I guess.
I like the Chiefs a lot in this game. I really do. The Chargers are very banged up. The Chargers are like the Chiefs' offensive line in terms of getting it done. I don't think the Chargers have much of a passing game. I think the Chargers are going to struggle offensively down the stretch. I really do. They had to run Herbert to move the ball in the second half against the Eagles. I do think the line's a little big, though. The Chiefs a 5.5-point favorite.
I've got it 4.5, but still.
Okay, yeah.
Field goal in this game?
Yeah, 2.5, 3.5, but I like the Chiefs.
I already took Seattle and laid the huge number, so I'm obviously taking the Seahawks. I know you are too, David. Do you think they cover the near 14-point spread?
Well, I'm curious as to who's going to play a quarterback. And also, have you seen anonymously, a lot of guts shown, by the NFL executives who are coming out of the woodwork to say that this Phillip Rivers thing is going to be an absolute disaster?
The only one that I appreciated of all the people that have spoken, because one spoke on the record, I give Cam Newton credit. Cam's like, you're not calling me? Are you serious right now?
Love Seattle to win. Don't know about the 13.5, but they could probably gang up on Jonathan Taylor.
Tennessee at San Francisco. The Titans are bad. San Francisco isn't. It's that easy to me. San Francisco is the most underappreciated team in the National Football League this year. Every single team. Pat does it. Detroit's too banged up. Tampa Bay's too banged up. They're too banged up. San Francisco's been banged up all damn year, and all they do is win. They'll do it again on Sunday.
And the Niners getting a rest week late in the season. It will serve them well, and they will be a very tough playoff out as a 6 or a 7 seed. Look out. Yeah, Niners win.
Green Bay at Denver. The altitude, David, the altitude. That's all we hear. And I think it's important if the Broncos are going to go to the Super Bowl. For whatever reason, and mainly because the guy in the Twitch chat room thinks that Denver's the greatest team that's ever played in the history of the National Football League, drives me nuts. Go Pack, go. I'll take the Packers.
Curious whether or not the Packers receivers who have started to make some plays can make those plays against this secondary with Surtain back. I'm going to take Denver at home.
Carolina at New Orleans. David and I both already laid the small number taking Carolina. We don't think that there's a sweep. So New Orleans, they're bad. They gave a great effort against the Bucs and won last week. I don't see it being 2 in a row. Carolina. Detroit and the Rams. Man, how many points do the Lions have to score to win? 42? I don't think they can do it. I'm taking Stafford and the Rams.
Yeah, I think they have to get to at least 38. And it's tough to score more than 24 against the Rams.
Right.
And Carolina just did the Rams.
Minnesota at Dallas. David laid the big number with the Cowboys, so you know he's taking Dallas in this one. I agree with him. I think that Dak Prescott's been really good this year, and I'll take him against the blitzing Viking defense.
Cowboys really can run the table to finish 10-6-1. So, Philly does have to get to 11. Okay, they'll get to 9 with the win over Vegas. But the loss to the Chargers, I think, Mark, is going to force Philly to win 3 out of their last 4.
And finally, there may be no Watt. He's in the hospital right now with the lung issue. Pittsburgh's at home. It's going to be cold. Miami doesn't win in the cold. They keep proving me wrong, but I'm going to keep picking against them because I just don't think they're that good. I'm going to take the Steelers.
Yeah, it's one thing to beat the Jets in the cold. It's another thing, I think, to beat the Steelers. I'll be curious, and it will be in the teens Monday night. Wind chill in the single digits. You and I are both on the Steelers. We only disagree on 2 games this week.
There's our NFL picks, Miller and Moulton. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
This is Miller and Moulton.
David,
Yes.
we're going to teach you something else right now. On the right side of the screen, you see comments, banners, media assets. Right?
Uh-huh.
Press the media assets button.
Right.
You'll see on the top left, I believe. Actually, let me pull it up so I can see it too. Top where it says overlay.
Yeah.
See where it says Twit?
Yep.
Click that. See what you did there?
Yes, Mark. I saw what I did there.
So you have Kirwan when
Uh-huh.
Kirwan's on. You have
Right.
three person whenever we have three people on,
Right.
and it's not Pat.
And then
For
this for
break.
right now. Right.
Yeah, the other ones don't worry about because I got to redo all of those. So just those are the only ones. Like the Samson one, I still think has things on there that aren't accurate.
Okay.
I don't. Yeah, that's not. I didn't update his. I've not updated those in years. I probably need to, but we don't use them that often. But just they're just. So then when you're done, you just click comments. Wait a minute. What is this? Ha! Look at that. That's a holiday one, David.
Look at that.
I can do a gingerbread man. Oh, there we go. That's us, a beach snowman. Yes, it's the little things, people. These are the little things that make me happy.
Miller and Moulton, not big happy holiday fans. We're Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, folk.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
$21 past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. All coming up. You know, I only picked 2 road teams to win in the NFL. That seems like I'm going to have a bad week, don't you think?
Well, I hope that the 2 home teams that you have where I have road teams work out for me, but we'll see. We'll see. You never know. I mean, time of the year where strange things start happening. We did our NASCAR interview there, and it didn't get a lot of text on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. Pelican Roofing of Florida, by the way, 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Statewide, commercial, residential, for all your roofing needs. We'd appreciate it if you called Pelican Roofing and tell them Miller and Moulton sent you. But, someone talks about another body of racing that I'd never even heard of, this IMSA, which apparently is more fan-friendly than other racing. I'll take your word for it. But another person texted this, and I'm curious of your thoughts, because I remember when they moved golf to the Golf Channel, and who was the golfer going, what? Why are we doing that? And, but this person says, if there is one sport that needs its own TV network, it's NASCAR. A 9-month season. Figure it out. Now, you watch far more racing than I do. I'm just curious. Do you think that's do you think that would be a good idea? A NASCAR TV network?
No. What I think they need to do is streamline down to 2 over-the-air networks, if you will, or 1 over-the-air and 1 streaming. I will say, and I think it was it Netflix or Amazon? Which one had the 5-week package? Okay, and I watched a couple of the races. The coverage was amazing. Best coverage in the history of the sport. Not even close. It was so good. Dale Jr. was a part of it. Okay, their post-game show was very Shaq and Charles, and it was great. Great coverage of the race. Okay, first off, from a video standpoint and audio, no sport is covered better than NASCAR. You could hate the announcers and how many commercials there are, but the video quality and the audio quality is second to none. It's amazing.
I will say this is the funny quirk about me. If you've listened to this show for any length of time, I respect the hell out of the NASCAR people, and I love our NASCAR guests. They are the NASCAR guys and our horse racing guys and our hockey guys. They are the most gracious of all of our guests, period. Not the Pats and the people we have regularly. They're awesome. But I'm talking about, we call up random football guy or random golf guy or random NASCAR guy. The NASCAR guys are great. Hockey guys, great. Our horse racing guys are great. But one of my favorite sports to listen to on the radio is NASCAR. I think the coverage is amazing. I think the job they do as a former play-by-play person, I am amazed at NASCAR coverage. And David, as you were saying that, I'll be honest with you, I didn't know races were streamed this year.
Yeah,
I'm not kidding. Like when you said it, I'm like, really? I don't know what network it was, because I am now found out that it's Amazon.
Right, and it was August basically.
I will say, MLS went streaming. I don't know if that's really worked. NFL is going to win wherever they go, whatever. We'll see how this NBA thing works out. But what you could do from a streaming standpoint with NASCAR, to me, is second to none. When you're at a race and you get the NASCAR headsets
Yep.
and you can listen to your guy.
Yep.
You could do that while watching the race.
Yes.
You could literally pick the whatever channel out. You could pick out the Ross Chastain channel, have his in-car, whether you get that the whole time, pick what camera you want, pick what you want to listen to. I think the ability, golf's another one that could do similar things where you can watch featured groups, but they don't give you the sound. You're not listening to player and caddy conversation, which I would love, by the way. But with NASCAR, you're listening to the spotter and the driver and the crew chief. You get to hear all of it. What they could do on streaming, that's actually the sport that probably needs to stream more because it would give the fan more. They already have the ability with the audio to give the listener, or in this case, the viewer, more.
Early in this show, we talked about Michael Jordan's potential impact on NASCAR, and it could be Jerry Jones-esque to the NFL. Part of Jerry Jones's impact was convincing, begging, pleading with the league to dump CBS for Fox and everything that came with it. Boy, what a huge move that was. Onions to the nth degree, and it worked in a massive way for both parties. Mark, in the next 5 years, NASCAR needs to get back to 2 networks. I would recommend Fox and Amazon. Fox has established itself. They do the best job of the over-the-air networks. They have the better announcing crews. And Amazon was awesome. Awesome. And I would have Fox do it till, July 4th. And then I would just have Amazon for the summer and the fall, which when you think about it, you're going up against football. You got a lot of people that are not going to watch anyway. But for those that are interested, man, oh man. And Amazon could take Thursday night football and promote the out of what's coming up on the weekend. That's what I would do if I was NASCAR. I would streamline 2 networks. And my guess is you could make more money, quite frankly. I think Amazon would be all in. I think Netflix and Amazon are going to start throwing money around like chiclets, and they're going to start buying up all the over-the-air commercial stuff that they can, in my opinion, by the 2030s. Look out. One of the current over-the-air networks that televises the NFL, they're going to lose the NFL in the 2030s. Mark my words.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Now, YouTube TV just announced they're going to have some tiers where it's going to get a little bit cheaper. We'll see what you're offered on that. I'm a YouTube TV subscriber. It's cheaper than cable, far cheaper. Don't get me wrong. But there are limitations. And you don't pay any less for Sunday ticket. So to get a break month to month, we'll see. We'll see. But I wouldn't rule out YouTube TV as well as being a player in this whole game as well with Amazon and Netflix. After all, Google is the one that owns YouTube. So I think they may be in play when this comes about as well. But that's just our thoughts. I wanted to ask David. He's the big NASCAR guy of the two of us. And I know it's a football Friday, and we've kind of gone at this a lot of different ways today. Talked a lot of NFL, a lot of big games.
Quickly, in our final minute, if you're NASCAR, look at NBC signed a deal with Jordan to help them with their NBA coverage, trying to appeal to young and old both. If you're NASCAR, do you go all in on Michael Jordan here?
Yes.
You just caved into him. He won business-wise. Okay, and they will continue to win. This is going to become more and more of a partnership down the road. Do you want to make Michael Jordan one of the faces of your sport?
Yes, for all of the reasons that you're thinking of and 10 more. What's he done that's failed? Well, seriously. Other than being the owner of an NBA team. But
bingo.
He failed with
GM.
the on-the-court product.
Right.
What was the franchise worth when he got it? What was the franchise worth when he got rid of it? It's still a win. Everything that man has touched has turned to gold. Like no other person in the history of sports. Miller and Moulton, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when what's on tap? Next. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape. Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Well, Javier, I hope it's with Sleep Treatment Direct. Good luck. RCB, I disagree. I think he'd be frustrated beyond belief. I think the new guard would say to him, appreciate what you did for us and all the money we make now because of you. But go away. I really do believe that's what the current sport would say to him.
David, fun little stat for you. Montreal goalies to make their first NHL start versus Pittsburgh. You know about Jacob Fowler. But Ken Dryden had his first start against Pittsburgh, won 5-1. Patty Waugh, a 5-3 win in his first start against Pittsburgh. And Carey Price, first start in a 3-2 win against Pittsburgh. How about that? How about that?
Boy, Jacob Fowler's got a lot to live up to there.
Damn right he does.
Jeez.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes. And we're out of here. Done for the week. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Our poll question is about the Army-Navy game, your level of interest. It's tomorrow, 3 in the afternoon on CBS. It'll be Gary Danielson's 17th and final Army-Navy game. It's my 16th, 15th on location. They wouldn't let me go in 2020 to West Point because the booth was so small and I would be violating the COVID protocols at the time. So I had to do the game from elsewhere, and that was a bummer with it being on site and all, even though it was a fog bowl. But so this will be my 15th on location.
So have you ever seen, that was the only time in this run that the game was at West Point, right?
Correct.
So have you ever seen a football game at West Point?
Air Force at Army, yes, in the mid-'80s, in mid-October.
As a fan. I mean, just as a, you're right.
Yep. Stunning how beautiful it was. Yeah. Drove up on a Friday, toured West Point, saw it all with my grandfather and dad having been a part of it, and stayed over and then took in the game. Amazing.
Good. I'm glad you got to do that in all seriousness, because that would have stunk if you had never been there.
Right.
And the one chance you had to go there due to what was going on in the world, you couldn't. So I'm glad to hear that. That's
the only other Army-Navy game that Gary worked that I didn't work was my audition with Joe Buck in golf at the Shark Shootout. It was the same day. And I remember, I think it was 2015, and Navy had the long winning streak still going against Army. And I literally said to Joe Buck, I know I'm not supposed to say this, but if Army wins today and I'm not there, I'll hold it against you forever.
Have you reminded him of that?
No, he reminded me of that a couple times.
Well, now that he got that little award there to get him in the Hall of Fame, tell him his payback is he's got to make an appearance on Miller and Moulton.
We'll get him on, I promise.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Way to go, Pennsylvania. Today in 1787, Pennsylvania became the second state to ratify the Constitution. Today in 1874, Hawaiian King David Kalakua is the first king to visit the United States. Did so as a guest of Ulysses S. Grant, and it was the first U.S. state dinner at the White House. 1878, Joseph Pulitzer began publishing the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Today in 1899, George Grant, an African-American dentist from Boston, receives U.S. patent number 638920. What was it for? The world's first Gulf tea. He was not a marketer nor an inventor. He gives away a few copies of his creation, but makes no money from it before he dies.
Wow.
Today in 1901, Marconi receives the first wireless signal, the Morse code letter S, from England at a receiver on Signal Hill in Newfoundland. Today in 1930, the Baseball Rules Committee revises the rule book. A ball bouncing into the stands is now a ground rule double. Before that, it was a home run. Big day for NASCAR today in 1946. Tide laundry detergent was officially introduced. It would start sponsoring a car the next day. No, that's not true. The second part, at least. Gale Sayers tied an NFL record with his 6-touchdown game today in 1965 as the Bears throttled the 49ers 61-20 at Wrigley Field. The Poseidon Adventure with Gene Hackman and Ernest Borgnine premiered today in 1972.
Love that movie.
We were all picking an apple and putting it in the basket after today, because today in 77, Saturday Night Fever, starring John Travolta, premiered. If you were a part of this today in 1980, well, you're probably not listening to this show because you're loaded. Apple made its initial public offering on the stock market today in 1980. 38 years later, it would become the first U.S. company valued at over $1 trillion, the first at $2 trillion 2 years after that, and 3 years later, $3 trillion. 1982, the snowplow game. Miami and New England, scoreless. Mark Henderson, a convict on work release on the order of Ron Meyer, clears the path for John Smith's attempt, which wins the game for the Pats 3-0. Rain Man premiered today in 1988. Gino Torretta, friend of the show, won his Heisman today in 92. And today in 2000, the U.S. Supreme Court released its 5-4 decision in Bush versus Gore, settling Florida and the 2000 presidential election. Our first Chief Justice, John Jay, Frank Sinatra, Bob Barker, and Dickie Betts would have all celebrated birthdays today. Bob Pettit is 93. Dionne Warwick, 85. Emerson Fittipaldi is 79. Billy Smith, 75. Sheila E. in the Glamorous Life, 68. Tracy Austin is 63. John Randall, 58. And Bills D lineman, the overpaid Ed Oliver, is 28 years old today. What did I miss, David?
Oh, I like the little shot at the end there.
It's true. It's true.
Yes, it is true. There's no doubt. Rousseau, Oliver, they're all making way too much money. It's why the Bills have cap problems. It's their own doing. Smokey Robinson of the Miracles today. Tears of a Clown. First time Smokey and the guys went number one. Today in 1970.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good today, we go to San Francisco. It was last week that a Waymo car made the bad because it pulled a U-turn in front of police. But Waymo did their job right this week in San Francisco. A mother was on her way to the University of California Medical Center to deliver a baby, hers. And she did it inside the robo-taxi. Apparently, the company said its rider support team detected unusual activity inside the vehicle and called to check on the rider as well as alert 911. Mom and baby are doing fine. For the bad, we go to my hometown of Saginaw, Michigan, and actually my area of Saginaw, Michigan, Saginaw Township, where police are trying to find the owner of a small pig that has wandered loose in Saginaw Township. It was at the Lawndale Estates Mobile Park, and they know it's a pet pig because it smelled like vanilla.
What?
There's some perfume on it. So the pig smelled like a stripper, hence the irony. Finally, the ugly. We go to In-N-Out Burger, where they had enough with the trend. And if you have a child, and even if you don't, you probably know by now, 6'7". Well, In-N-Out Burger has taken the number 67 out of its ticket order system. They go directly from 66 to 68 because lots of kids were waiting for the number 67 to be called and respond by a boisterous celebration. So no more 6'7". And that, David, is the good, the bad, and the ugly. On today, December the 12th, here on Miller and Moulton. It's brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department. Seeking new officers and other jobs. Great pay, great benefits, overtime opportunities available. All information can be had at capecops.com. That's capecops.com. I figured I'd give you a break. You've been that head cold. You've been run down a little bit. I don't think Mom wanted to hear you screaming capecops.com. So, I let it slide today.
After the 6 a.m. wake up call for the whole house.
Right.
I think capecops.com, almost 4 hours later would go over just fine. 7 NBA games tonight, only 2 with teams with winning records facing one another. Both games on NBA TV for what it's worth. Atlanta, Detroit, Pistons best record in the East. That's at 7. 10 o'clock, T-Wolves and Warriors. I think Steph returns for Golden State. They're the only 2 matchups of teams with winning records. I do want to mention a little college hoop. One game tonight, 8 o'clock on Big Fox, Texas and UConn in stores. UConn a 14.5-point favorite. You get to watch Hurley on the sidelines act like an idiot. There's a lot of good college hoop this weekend, especially on Saturday. The one game that may interest some folks that is not a battle of ranked teams, Mark, tomorrow night at 7:30 on ESPN, Indiana and Kentucky. Dick Vitale and Charles Barkley doing the game together.
By the way, there will be a minimum, and I'm just getting through it tomorrow. There is for sure going to be 3 system plays tomorrow. Number 2, Michigan is at Maryland. I guarantee you Michigan's going to be a big favorite in that game.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Michigan right now might beat Oklahoma City. I mean, it's a tough one for our system right now, but okay, we got to do it.
I think they all are tough for our system, but our system is our system. Kansas is at NC State, which that's an interesting. Had to double check and make sure that was actually in Raleigh. Kansas is at NC State, and Michigan State is at Penn State. Trust me, all three of those ranked teams will be favored tomorrow. They don't put basketball lines out, at least on the service I use, until day of. But there are 3 system plays tomorrow for what it's worth. I'm predicting right now the system goes 1 and 2.
2 NHL games tonight, both on ESPN Plus. Blackhawks and Blues, Kraken and Mammoth. So there. Navy a 6 or 6.5 point favorite, depending on where you look. They've been clearly the better team throughout the season. At no point in the season has Army been as good as Navy. Does that matter in a rivalry game like this? Not necessarily. Navy won last year, ruining the best regular season that Army had in over 25 years. Navy finished in a 3-way tie for the American regular season title. They lost out on the tiebreakers. It's why they weren't in the game. Isn't Navy ranked technically?
I don't have them as still ranked. I do not. They may be, but I don't see a number next to them, David. That's just what I'm seeing here. So
okay.
No, they are not ranked.
Well, you know why? They had to take them out of the poll, because that helped Notre Dame.
Well, they're not in the playoff rankings. They're in the AP. Whatever, if you want to use the AP, they're 22nd. But they are not in the playoff rankings for what it's worth. So there you have it. Baltimore and Cincinnati tomorrow at 1. Chiefs, Chargers, Bills, Patriots. Couple of really good, not tomorrow, Sunday. Couple of really good 4 o'clock games. The Broncos and the Packers, and the Lions and the Rams. So it's NFL time, and we'll grind towards the college football playoffs next week and see, what the Canes are going to do on the road. Alabama and DeBoer, is he going to go to Michigan? Will Wade Manuel, the Michigan AD, survive the weekend?
Didn't DeBoer take to X and say, I am not going to Michigan? I thought he did that yesterday.
Okay, I didn't see it. He may have.
But then again, there's been a lot of fake stuff out on social media in the last 36 hours. I mean, Ward Manuel was fired, according to a couple of reports yesterday, and Lynn Swann had died yesterday morning, according to some reports. So crazy times on social media. Have a great weekend. Thanks for listening, Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The 2025 Industry Appreciation Awards in Fort Myers have wrapped up, but the celebration of business excellence continues, hosted by the Lee County Economic Development Office, Horizon Council, and Horizon Foundation. This annual event honors the innovators, job creators, and community builders driving the region forward. Visit industryappreciationawards.com to see this year's winners and learn how local businesses are shaping a stronger, more resilient economy for Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
There's something magical about the holidays, and at the Diamond District, it's the season we look forward to all year long.
The lights, the laughter, the feeling of giving. That moment someone opens a gift that truly sparkles.
When you walk through our doors, our team is ready to welcome you with warmth and expert guidance. No pressure, just people who love helping you create unforgettable moments.
Stunning diamond jewelry to wrap up the wonder of the season.
The Diamond District, se habla español.
At the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.